Chapter 1025. A horde of monsters here. You can still defeat us even if we join forces. Ningyu smiled and said, if I add the energy form, I wonder if I can defeat you. Ha ha ha. The Wind Venerable laughed wildly at the sky and said, the energy body in your hand is only useful in blocking the aftermath. Using it against the enemy? It's still lacking. The reason why Venerable Wind was not afraid was because Ningyu's energy form was only at early stage rank 7. Even with the threat of the purple light in the sky, Venerable Wind was not afraid because he could not use his energy form. You might have misunderstood me. Ningyu knew that Venerable Wind must have misunderstood him. His energy form could only unleash the combat power of early stage rank 7, but Venerable Wind's energy form could unleash the combat power of a middle stage rank 7. Energy forms: energy form, Beast King, and small energy form. With the three of them joining forces against Venerable Wind, even if Venerable Wind had wings, it would be hard for him to escape. Whoosh. At this moment, the void in the distance suddenly split open. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Then, 4 figures landed in the area. Intestine Breaker Dragon, Sword of Evil, 8-legged Centipede, and Earthshaker. At this time, the 8-legged Centipede and Earth-shaking Godly Ox had already recovered from their injuries. As for the Sword of Evil, he was at the peak of early stage rank 7 Supreme Martial Artist, brimming with battle intent. Intestine Breaker Dragon was slightly weaker, only a rank 4 Supreme Martial Artist. Venerable Wind, if you think your opponent is not strong enough, then add in the Sword of Evil. If Ningyu was still worried earlier, he was completely relieved now. 2 energy forms, one was the Sword of Evil, and the other was the Beast King. When they joined forces, their strength was unparalleled. How could Venerable Wind resist them? Ningyu, have you lost your mind? Venerable Wind looked at Ningyu as if he was looking at an idiot and said, the main body of the energy is in my hands, and it listens to my orders now. Don't tell me you think it will turn around and deal with me. It will definitely turn against you. Ningyu waved his hand and motioned for the law of space in midair to continue forcing him to abdicate. Moreover, Ningyu spoke in a clear voice, Energy Host, you now have 2 choices. First, turn around and deal with Venerable Wind. Second, die. Ningyu spoke those words casually, as if he wasn't talking to a 7th grade Sovereign Realm intermediate human Sovereign Realm energy source. Ha ha ha. Venerable Wind laughed maniacally again. Then, he changed the topic and said coldly, Ningyu, you've really lost your mind. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. As soon as the word you fell, Venerable Wind rose from the ground and was the first to charge at Ningyu. You will pay for your arrogance today. Bang. Before Venerable Wind could reach Ningyu, the Beast King immediately rushed out and blocked the attack for Ningyu. After one move, Venerable Wind and the Beast King each took a few steps back. In the first move, the Beast King was at a disadvantage. Swoosh, swoosh. Then, the Sword of Evil and the small energy forms rushed out and fought with the Beast King against Venerable Wind. Rumble. With the addition of the 2 new forces, the pressure on the Beast King decreased a lot. Moreover, he seemed to have the upper hand. Come on. What are you waiting for? Seeing that the energy form was still hesitating, Ningyu said, if you don't make a move, I'll refine you and let the small energy form devour you. I'm friendly to my friends, but I'll kill my enemies by hook or by crook. Hearing this, the energy form could not help but shiver. I'll deal with Venerable Wind for the time being. Anyway, he's controlling me for a while. Once I'm done with Venerable Wind, I'll take the chance to get close to you and kill you. An evil thought rose in the energy form's mind. However, it did not show any neglect on the surface and joined the battle. Swoosh. 2 energy forms, one was the Sword of Evil and the other was the Beast King. The 4 of them teamed up to fight Venerable Wind. Although the Beast King was powerful, it was hard for him to fight them. The Venerable Wind was not an idiot. If he could win, he would fight. If he couldn't, he would run. Where there's life, there's hope. He understood this logic. Therefore, he forced the 4 of them to retreat with one move. Then, he rushed out of the Broken Intestine Lake and ran toward Tianqian City. Let's go. How could Ningyu let go of the Venerable Wind? As soon as the venerable wind rushed out of the broken intestine lake, Ningyu let out a low grunt and followed him. Ningyu, I'm not going. Above the broken intestine lake, the broken intestine scale dragon said hesitantly, the little broken intestine scale dragon is not suitable for long-distance travel. I'll leave the broken intestine lake when he grows up. That's good too. Venerable Yang's self-explosion broke the restriction around the broken intestine lake. You can leave this place anytime. After pondering for a while, Ningyu said, when you leave the broken intestine lake, you can go to the Ning family in Tianxian City to look for me. You just have to tell them my name. Buzz. After saying that, Ningyu tore the void apart and went in. The eight-legged centipede and the earthshaker followed closely behind Ningyu and disappeared in an instant. Tianxian City, Ning family. The broken intestine scale dragon frowned slightly and went into the broken intestine lake. Rustle. In the inner region of the Magic Beast Ridge, several figures were moving forward at high speed. The one at the very front was the Wind Sage. In order to shake off the pursuers behind him as soon as possible, he exerted all his strength. However, no matter how much Venerable Wind increased his speed, he could not shake off the Beast King and the rest. Damn it! Cursing in his heart, Venerable Wind burned his blood essence to increase his speed as much as possible. Faster, faster. The Beast King and the Sword of Evil followed closely behind Venerable Wind. They were getting closer and closer to Venerable Wind. Behind the Beast King were two energy forms. The parent energy form and the smaller energy form. Both of them did not really want to attack Venerable Wind. It was just that it was inconvenient for them to escape because of the space law behind them. The direction that Venerable Wind is escaping in is Tianxian City. Ningyu's face darkened. With Venerable Wind's character, he might start a massacre in Tianxian City. Speed up. We must kill Venerable Wind before we reach Tianxian City. Ningyu transmitted his voice to the Sword of Evil. If Venerable Wind keeps moving so fast, we can definitely catch up to him before he leaves the inner region. The Sword of Evil said in a deep voice. I hope so. Ningyu took a deep breath and looked solemn. Time was ticking away. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. Roar roar. Just as Venerable Wind was about to leave the inner region, there was a terrifying roar coming from the front. Roar roar roar. The roar was getting more and more urgent, forcing Venerable Wind to stop. I'm going to die. After stopping, Venerable Wind looked at the thousands of demonic beasts in front of him. His eyes widened and he cursed. Gulp. Swallowing his saliva, Venerable Wind was a little confused. Demonic beast horde. He actually encountered a demonic beast horde when he was escaping. Chapter 1026. Surrounded swoosh. Not long after Venerable Wind stopped, the Sword of Evil and the Beast King caught up with them. Gasp. Just like Venerable Wind, the Beast King and the Sword of Evil gasped when they saw the thousands of beasts. Rustle. Soon, Ningyu and the eight-legged centipede arrived at the area. Looking at the overwhelming number of demonic beasts, Ningyu was truly surprised. After recovering from his shock, Ningyu said in a deep voice. Venerable Wind, there are beasts in front of us and people chasing after us. Where are you going? Crack. Venerable Wind clenched his fists and cracked them, trying to come up with a plan. Suddenly, Venerable Wind smirked and came up with an idea. Ignoring Ningyu, the Wind Sage walked towards the horde of demonic beasts. At the same time, the Wind Sage unleashed all of his aura, forcing the demonic beasts in front of him to retreat and open up a path for him. Swoosh. As soon as Venerable Wind stepped into the beasts, the path closed. What should we do? Seeing Venerable Wind disappear into the beasts, the Sword of Evil frowned. This isn't good. Ningyu's face turned solemn. Because Ningyu realized that the beasts in front of them had changed their view of them. From the initial hostility, they became even more hostile. They even wanted to attack them. This was a little awkward. As the saying goes, many hands make a big fire. Although the beasts at the outermost layer were mostly at the Yin-Yang realm and creation realm, Ningyu was sure that there were a lot of supreme realm beasts within. No matter how strong you were, you wouldn't be able to handle the combined forces of these beasts. Ha ha ha. A maniacal laughter came from the beasts. The person who laughed hysterically was none other than Venerable Wind. At this moment, Venerable Wind slowly rose into the air. Beside him, there was a large number of crystals and elixirs for him to consume. Ningyu, you didn't expect this, did you? These demonic beasts all have the same enemy, the Beast King. The corners of Venerable Wind's mouth curled up into an arc, and he said sinisterly, with so many origin crystals and medicinal pills for me to devour, it won't be long before I recover to my peak state. When that time comes, it will be the time of your deaths. Oh right, look at my memory. Venerable Wind seemed to have forgotten something important. He patted his head and said, you guys won't be able to live for long. With so many beasts, I'm guessing you guys will be killed in half an hour. Ningyu's heart sank to the bottom. No matter how much he calculated, he didn't expect to meet a group of demonic beasts. He didn't expect that the demonic beasts would have a common enemy. The enemy was recuperating, and they had to expend their strength to fight. If this went on, even if they didn't die in the group of demonic beasts, they would be killed by the recovered Venerable Wind. Break out. Let's split up and run. Ningyu wasn't a stubborn person. The best way now was to break out of the encirclement. Stay behind to deal with these demonic beasts. What a joke. It would probably be the same as what the Wind Sage had said. Before long, all of them would be killed. This was the principle of ants biting an elephant to death. Whoosh. As if they had guessed that Ningyu would choose to break out of the encirclement, countless demonic beasts began to spread out and surrounded Ningyu and the rest. Damn it. Cursing, Ningyu had no choice but to take out the red demon sword and face the enemy head-on. Kill. Ningyu wasn't an indecisive person. Since he missed the best opportunity to break out of the encirclement, he would kill in the same direction. Solitaire. With a low roar, Ningyu waved the red demon sword repeatedly and slashed out hundreds of sword ripples as thick as a person's waist. After advancing to first-grade human supreme, Ningyu could easily slash out hundreds of sword ripples without exhausting his vitality. Roar. Seeing that Ningyu had made his move, the Earthshaker and the eight-legged centipede didn't dare to be negligent. They followed closely behind and used their trump cards. Slash. The Sword of Evil unleashed the aura of an early 7th-grade human supreme. With the royal inferior flying sword in hand, he charged into the group of demonic beasts. The Beast King was indeed the Beast King. His pupils turned a little green, and every time a demonic beast looked into his eyes, it would faint on the spot. Eye sorcery. It was an extremely terrifying eye sorcery with shocking power. It's best if both sides suffer. Although the Venerable Wind was devouring yuan crystals and elixirs to recover, his attention was always on the Beast King and Ningyu. These two were his mortal enemies, and he was determined to kill them. No matter what, he wouldn't let the Beast King and Ningyu off. Venerable Wind, I've done what I promised you and given you so many yuan crystals and elixirs. Shouldn't you fulfill your promise? Beside the Venerable Wind, an old man in a green robe said in a deep voice. Rat King, don't worry. I'll definitely tell you where the phantom armor is after I recover. The Venerable Wind waved his hand and said, You're so powerful. How can I be your opponent? Me. I'll give you another half an hour. If you don't tell me where the phantom armor is by then, I'll definitely teach you a lesson. With a cold snort, the old man moved and disappeared into the ground. The phantom rat is an ancient monster. It's as famous as the Sky Devourer dog. Why would I meet them here? The Venerable Wind's face was extremely solemn. The old man in the green robe was a phantom rat. All the monsters around him listened to his orders. The reason why the monsters chose to attack Ningyu was because the Venerable Wind bragged that he knew where the phantom armor was. That was why the old man in the green robe mobilized the monsters to attack Ningyu and the others. Otherwise, with the strength of the Venerable Wind, he wouldn't be able to mobilize so many monsters. This phantom rat's strength is only at the peak of the 7th grade. Wait for me to recover for a while, then I'll find a chance to kill him. If one was not ruthless, one would not be able to achieve great things. The Venerable Wind secretly made up his mind. Once the opportunity was right, he would attack with all his strength and kill the old man in the green robe. At the very least, he would control the old man in the green robe. Only by controlling the old man in the green robe could he be safe and sound. Furthermore, he would be able to gather so many monsters. Fut fut fut. The venerable wind was having a good time here. On the battlefield, Ningyu and the others were having a hard time. No matter how they tried to break through, they couldn't create a gap. It was as if the monsters were organized and had a chance. Wherever there was a gap, the monsters would immediately fill it up. Taking turns. The monsters were taking turns to fight. I can't go on like this. Ningyu forced dozens of Creation Realm demonic beasts to retreat, and his mind became active. Energy form. It's time to show off your skills. Ningyu rolled his eyes and thought of a countermeasure. The energy form could transform into multiple streams of energy and fight the enemy together. As long as there was enough energy in the body, the energy form could continuously split and produce a smaller energy form to fight the enemy. If you help me get through this, I'll let you go and no longer control you. In order to retreat smoothly, Ningyu had to make a big decision. The energy form was a great help. If he lost it, it would greatly affect Ningyu's strength. However, the situation before him didn't allow him to think too much. In a situation where he couldn't even protect himself, he had to promise the energy form some benefits before they would listen to him. Chapter 1027. Shadow Mouse Buzz. Hearing Ningyu's words, both the parent energy body and the smaller energy bodies were very satisfied. Without another word, they started to fission. Swoosh. The parent energy body started to fission first. With the parent energy body as the center, the split energy bodies spread out in all directions. As for the smaller energy bodies, they also started to fission. Compared to the parent energy body, the split energy bodies produced by the smaller energy bodies were slightly weaker. The split energy bodies produced by the smaller energy bodies had the strength of a first-grade human supreme. The split energy bodies produced by the smaller energy bodies had the strength of a half-step supreme martial artist. Bang! 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 Even so, with the addition of so many new forces, the pressure on Ningyu and the rest was instantly reduced. Moreover, some yin-yang realm and creation realm demonic beasts were killed. The parent energy bodies and the smaller energy bodies seemed to have tasted the sweetness. After the fission, they started to fission again. This was because after the countless split energy bodies killed the demonic beasts, they devoured all their energy. As they fist and devoured energy, the parent energy bodies and the smaller energy bodies became stronger and stronger. In the end, the Beast King and the Sword of Evil looked at the masterpiece of the two energy bodies and the smaller energy bodies in shock. F***CK the Dark Crystal. The Beast King couldn't help but curse. If this continued, the fighting strength of the parent energy bodies and the smaller energy bodies would surpass his in a short period of time. When that time came, what should he do? Law of space. When do these two energy bodies become so strong that you won't be able to control them? Ningyu also knew the severity of the problem. He hurriedly communicated with the law of space. Peak 8th grade human supreme? Ningyu was puzzled. There was no response from the law of space. Early stage 8th grade human supreme? Ningyu continued. There was still no response from the law of space. Peak 7th grade human supreme? Ningyu faintly felt that something was wrong. If it continued to decrease, it would really bode ill for them. At this moment, the law of space shook. Whoosh. The movement of the law of space made Ningyu heave a sigh of relief. The parent energy body was a mid-stage 7th grade human supreme, while the smaller energy body was an early-stage 7th grade human supreme. They still had a long way to go before they could advance to the peak 7th grade human supreme. During this period of time, Ningyu and the others could take a break from their busy schedule and seize the time to recover. Don't panic, everyone. I have a way to control these two energy bodies. Ningyu said in a deep voice, signaling everyone not to panic. The current problem wasn't a problem. Among the eight-legged centipede, Earthshaker Divine Ox, Beast King, and Venerable Sword Nefarious, only Venerable Sword Nefarious knew that Ningyu possessed the law of space and the world tree sapling. The Sword of Evil also knew that the law of space could restrict the energy bodies. Therefore, he was the least worried other than Ningyu. The centipede and the Earthshaker were more worried. After all, they had seen the terror of the energy bodies with their own eyes. Ningyu, how confident are you that you can control the energy bodies? The Beast King didn't know that the purple light was the law of space. He hesitated and said, if we can't, we'd better break out as soon as possible. I know what I'm doing. You're the strongest here. Pay attention to Venerable Wind. Remember not to let him recover to the peak 7th grade human supreme, Ningyu said to the Beast King. The law of space could only control the energy bodies of pinnacle 7th grade human sovereigns. In other words, as long as Venerable Feng's strength didn't recover to the pinnacle 7th grade human sovereign realm, Ningyu would be able to kill him. All right. The Beast King had no choice but to believe in Ningyu. After all, his life was saved by Ningyu. If Ningyu wanted to harm him, he would have done it long ago. Puff, puff, puff. On the battlefield, the parent energy bodies and the smaller energy bodies were getting more and more comfortable. They were killing like fish in water. Ningyu and the Sword of Evil were recuperating. The Beast King was recuperating while he released his perception to pay close attention to the changes in Venerable Wind. Time was always slipping away unknowingly. Boom. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. A terrifying aura shot up from Venerable Wind's body. Oh no. Feeling the terrifying aura, Ningyu's face darkened. Peak 7th grade human supreme, what he feared had come true. Ha ha ha, Ningyu, you didn't expect this, did you? Our Sacred Heaven sect's cultivation technique is very unique. It's only been an hour, and my strength has recovered to the peak 7th grade human supreme. Venerable Wind laughed wildly. I won't give you a chance this time. I'm going to. The Wind Venerable stopped abruptly halfway through his words. How is this possible? Venerable Wind's eyes were slightly dazed. This was because he saw a scene that shocked him. Under the attack of the two energy bodies, a large number of demonic beasts were killed. Only a group of supreme beasts were left. These supreme beasts didn't dare to move forward. They even started trembling. Nothing is impossible. Seeing that the energy bodies wanted to continue attacking the supreme beasts, Ningyu hurriedly used the law of space to control them. If they continued to devour, the energy bodies would break through to the 8th grade human supreme. Now that the two energy bodies had advanced to the peak 7th grade human supreme, it was the limit that the law of space could control. We'll submit to you for now. Once we've refined the energy completely, we'll kill you too. The main energy body and the smaller energy bodies looked at each other. They could see the excitement in each other's squirming energy. Venerable Wind, as long as I give the order, you'll be turned into minced meat by these two energy bodies. Ningyu's tone was emotionless. I'll give you a chance to live. Tell me why the Sacred Heaven sect is looking for the extreme yin body. Otherwise, I'll, boom boom. Before Ningyu could finish his sentence, a huge crack appeared on the ground. Swoosh. Then, an elder in a green robe flew out from the ground. Venerable Wind, now that you've recovered to the peak 7th grade human supreme, it's time to tell me where the phantom armor is. The green-robed old man directly ignored Ningyu and the others, and turned to speak coldly to Venerable Wind. The phantom armor is with that young man. Venerable Wind said coldly. It's with that young man. The green-robed elder frowned and shifted his gaze to Ningyu. While the green-robed elder was sizing him up, Ningyu was also sizing him up. Phantom rat. Ningyu's pupils shrank as waves of shock surged in his heart. The elder in front of him wasn't a human. His true identity should be the phantom rat. Back then, my father went to the magical beast mountain range and gave me the phantom armor when he came back. Could it have been stolen from him? Ningyu was a little confused. The green-robed elder's cultivation was at the peak 7th grade human supreme. Chapter 1028. Harder than ascending to heaven. Why does this aura feel so familiar? After sizing up Ningyu for a while, the green-robed elder said, Is the phantom armor on you? If it is, take it out and I will spare your life. Senior, I don't know what the phantom armor is, Ningyu answered honestly. Ha ha ha, Ningyu, you said that the phantom armor is not on you? Who are you trying to fool? I advise you to. Fart. Hearing Ningyu's words, Venerable Wind laughed maniacally and started to taunt. However, before the wind venerable could finish his words, he felt his body lighten as he was sent flying backwards. Bang! His body crashed heavily into a towering tree, and Venerable Wind's face turned extremely ugly. Originally, Venerable Wind thought that the green-robed elder was a peak 7th grade human supreme, and he had also recovered to the peak 7th grade human supreme. There shouldn't be such a huge difference in their strength. However, reality slapped him in the face. Powerful. The green-robed elder was especially powerful. Not to mention that he had only recovered to the peak 7th grade human supreme. Even if he had recovered to his peak, he wouldn't be a match for the green-robed elder. When I'm talking, you better not interrupt. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen. After one move, the green-robed elder said faintly, "You better pray that I can find the phantom armor. Otherwise, you should know the consequences." Got it. Although he was furious in his heart, Fengzunja still nodded. He had to lower his head when he was under someone else's roof. Since he was weak, he could only endure and wait for an opportunity. "Senior, although I don't know what the phantom armor is, I obtained a broken armor from Venerable Wind in the Beast King Palace. I wonder if it's the phantom armor you're looking for." The green-robed elder was a phantom mouse, and he could easily defeat Venerable Wind. Ningyu did not think that they could fight against the green-robed elder. Besides, unless the phantom armor provided a lot of energy, it wouldn't be of much help to Ningyu in future battles. Under this premise, Ningyu's choice to take out the phantom armor was the best choice. On one hand, he could frame the Venerable Wind, and on the other hand, he could avoid a disaster. Phantom armor. Looking at the armor in Ningyu's hands, the green-robed elder revealed a joyful expression. "Throw it over." Ningyu tactfully threw the phantom armor to the green-robed old man. Pa. After receiving the phantom armor, the green-robed elder examined it carefully. While the green-robed elder was checking the phantom armor, Ningyu and the others held their breaths, not daring to breathe. After a while, the green-robed elder let out a long breath. Looking at the green-robed elder's action, Ningyu revealed a relieved expression. The phantom armor was broken. During the time in the Beast King Palace, Ningyu had no time to take care of it, so he didn't try to repair it. If the green-robed elder blamed him, the consequences would be unimaginable. Senior, is this the phantom armor? I don't think it's any different from the other armors. Ningyu said carefully. Hehe, there's a big difference. Finding the phantom armor, the green-robed elder was in a good mood. He waved his hand at the parent energy body and the small energy body, and said, "Both of you, come over here. Spit out all the energy that you haven't refined." Swoosh. The parent energy body and the small energy body's heart sank. They were storing energy for the sake of killing Ningyu later. The green-robed elder's request directly destroyed their plan to kill Ningyu and then escape. How could they be happy? You don't want to? In that case, I have to do it myself. The green-robed old man's expression was devoid of joy or sorrow. He said indifferently, "I'll say the ugly words first. If I were to come personally, the two of you energy bodies would have been annihilated. After all, I've killed at least 8 to 10 energy bodies." Buzz. The parent energy body and the small energy body had no choice but to sacrifice the pure energy that they had stored. 2 beams of energy shot toward the green-robed old man in unison. "Go in." Looking at the energy light beams flying toward him, the green-robed elder flicked his wrist and directly threw the phantom armor into the air. He used a secret method to guide the energy into the phantom armor. Crack. As the energy continued to be injected, the phantom armor made cracking sounds. In just a few minutes, the phantom armor was completely repaired. King level medium grade. Crack. Crack. After repairing the phantom armor, the green-robed elder didn't stop but continued to guide the energy into the phantom armor. Time continued to pass. Bang. Half an hour later. A muffled sound came from the phantom armor. King level high grade. After half an hour of refining, the phantom armor had been refined to the king level high grade by the green-robed elder. I'll say it one last time. Send all the extra energy over. Obviously, the green-robed elder wasn't satisfied with the phantom armor's upgrade to the king level high grade. Swoosh. Swoosh. Seeing the green-robed elder was angry, the parent energy body and the small energy body had to use all the extra energy. Bang! Another half an hour later, a muffled sound came from the phantom armor again. At this moment, the phantom armor was upgraded to the king level high grade. Moreover, it was only one step away from breaking through the limit and advancing to the emperor level. Gulp! Seeing the phantom armor's soaring grade, Ningyu and the others all swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Terrifying. It was too terrifying. No wonder it was the treasure of the Phantom Rat clan. It could recover so quickly. As long as there was energy, the phantom armor could continue to upgrade. The king level high grade should be the highest grade of the phantom armor at this stage. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu murmured, "All of you, use all the yuan qi in your body and inject it into the phantom armor." The green-robed elder wasn't satisfied with the phantom armor's upgrade to the king level high grade. Swoosh! The green-robed elder's words made Ningyu's face turn ugly. Although it was ugly, Ningyu had no choice but to use all the yuan qi in his body and inject it into the phantom armor. In addition to Ningyu, the Earthshaker, the eight-legged centipede, the Sword of Evil, and the Beast King also injected their yuan qi into the phantom armor. Fishing in troubled waters, Venerable Wind quietly retreated behind the towering giant tree, trying to fish in troubled waters. Humph! I don't want to say the same thing twice. The green-robed elder snorted coldly. Venerable Wind thought that his little move wasn't seen by the green-robed elder, but he didn't know that nothing could escape the green-robed elder's perception. All right. Venerable Wind's face was bitter. He had to use all the yuan qi in his body and inject it into the phantom armor without reservation. Crack! With the infusion of energy from Ningyu and the others, the phantom armor kept making cracking sounds. The phantom armor was at the king level high grade. To advance to the emperor level, it needed a lot of energy. Chapter 1029. Emperor rank, all of you, come over here. Inject your energy into the phantom armor. Since he had decided to refine the phantom armor, the green-robed old man definitely wanted to refine it to the monarch rank. Not enough energy. There was no need to be anxious. In any case, there were still many supremacy realm demonic beasts in the surroundings. Buzz buzz, although the cultivation of these demonic beasts was relatively low, with most of them being in the half-step supremacy realm and first-grade human supremacy realm, their numbers were huge. With so many demonic beasts releasing their energy at the same time, this lineup was very spectacular. At this rate, the low-grade royal rank phantom armor's defensive power will be astonishing. Ningyu's attention was always on the phantom armor. The phantom armor was a defensive treasure. Even at a lower rank, it could withstand the attacks of a higher rank martial artist. It was obvious that once he advanced into the monarch rank, his defensive ability would definitely multiply. Transformation. At the critical moment, the green-robed old man forced out a drop of blood essence and dripped it on the phantom armor. No changes. Seeing that there was no change to the phantom armor, the green-robed elder forced out another 2 drops of blood essence and dripped them on the phantom armor. Damn it. 3 drops of blood essence did not cause any waves. The green-robed old man cursed and immediately forced out a few more drops of blood essence. Buzz. With so much essence blood dripping on the mirage armor, the armor couldn't help but tremble. Faster. The transformation of the phantom armor caused the green-robed old man's face to be filled with joy as he hurriedly said. Helpless, Ningyu and the rest could only desperately inject their primordial qi into the phantom armor. Bang bang bang, not long after, the surrounding low-level demonic beasts were sent flying several meters away and fell to the ground. At first, everyone took the initiative to inject energy into the phantom armor. Now, they had no choice but to inject energy into the phantom armor. Bang! Bang! A series of banging sounds rang out, and a few more demonic beasts were sent flying. After all the low-level demon beasts were ejected, the eight-legged centipede and the Earthshaker could not hold on any longer. They sat on the ground, panting heavily. After that were the Sword of Evil, the Beast King, and the Venerable Wind. Up until now, only Ningyu and the 2 energy bodies could hold on. Done. After a few more minutes, when Ningyu and the 2 energy bodies could not hold on any longer, the green-robed old man shouted. Rumble. As the green-robed old man uttered the word become, the void above the phantom armor suddenly cracked and a huge gap appeared. Poochie. The moment the huge gap formed, Ningyu spat out a mouthful of blood and couldn't help but take a few steps back. As for the two energy bodies, the energy in their bodies was almost exhausted, and they were in a sorry state. Catcher. In mid-air, a lightning bolt as thick as a person's waist blasted straight at the phantom armor. Calamity of magic treasures. The Dharma treasure tribulation was a tribulation that every Dharma treasure had to endure to advance to the Emperor level. If one could withstand it, they could successfully advance to the Emperor level. If they could not withstand it, they would be turned into ashes. Catcher. The first thunderbolt blasted down, but it did not affect the phantom armor at all. After all, the phantom armor was a defensive Dharma treasure. If the first lightning bolt could break it, wouldn't it be called the treasure of the Phantom Rat clan? Following the first bolt of lightning, several more bolts of lightning poured down from the sky. Although the phantom armor had an extremely strong defense, it could not withstand the lightning bolts at the same time. Catcher. Dense cracks appeared on the surface, and the phantom armor seemed to be on the verge of breaking. I wonder if the phantom armor can withstand the Dharma treasure tribulation. After watching for a while, Ningyu stopped paying attention to it and started to cultivate using the spiritual art. According to Ningyu's guess, once the phantom armor advanced to the Emperor level, the green-robed old man would definitely take it away. At that time, it would be time for him to fight with Venerable Wind. If he did not cultivate now, wouldn't he be done for when Venerable Wind recovered to his peak state? Not only was Ningyu cultivating, but even the Beast King and the others were doing their best to cultivate. To be honest, whether the phantom armor could advance to the Emperor level or not had little to do with them. The only way was to recover to the peak state as soon as possible. Catcher. Toward the end, the phantom armor had more and more cracks. Cracks kept appearing on the phantom armor. The green-robed old man saw it and remembered it in his heart. There was nothing he could do. The Dharma treasure tribulation needed the Dharma treasure tribulation to pass by itself. If others helped, it was likely to cause the Dharma treasure tribulation to become stronger, which would lead to the failure of the tribulation. Time continued to pass. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. In this hour, the phantom armor had withstood hundreds of lightning bolts. Every thunderbolt power poured on the phantom armor without any reservation. Swoosh. After the hundreds of lightning bolts poured down, there was a short period of silence in the void. The silence did not last long, and it was soon broken by a swoosh. In mid-air, a huge lightning bolt slowly appeared. What the F***ck? Looking at the power of thunder that appeared in the air, even though the green-robed old man was serious, he couldn't help but swear at this moment. It's over. It's over. There's no chance. Although the phantom armor was the treasure of the Phantom Rat clan, the green-robed old man was not optimistic about the phantom armor after seeing the huge lightning bolt. The green-robed old man had never heard of such a powerful thunderbolt. He had never seen it before. Under the green-robed old man's shocked gaze, the huge lightning bolt suddenly bombarded the phantom armor. Bang! A crisp sound came from the phantom armor. Ningyu and the others stopped cultivating and shifted their gaze to the phantom armor in mid-air. Boom! Ningyu and the others were dumbfounded. The phantom armor had done something beyond everyone's expectations. A terrifying devouring force erupted from its body and swallowed the huge lightning bolt into its body. Holy F***ck. Ningyu and the others widened their eyes and mouths as if they had seen a ghost. Lower royal class. After devouring the power of thunder, the phantom armor actually completed an almost impossible transformation. It had advanced from the Supreme King class to the lower royal class. This situation obviously made Ningyu and the others dumbfounded. Ha ha ha. Feeling the energy emitted from the phantom armor, the green-robed old man threw his head back and laughed. He was very proud of himself. Originally, the order he received was to evacuate all the mirage mice in Magical Beast Mountain range. Never had he imagined that he'd actually found the lost mirage armor by chance. Moreover, he'd even refined it to the low-grade monarch rank. One last step. The green-robed old man knew the gravity of the situation. He knew that there was one more important thing he had to do to bring the phantom armor away. That was to completely destroy the soul imprint in the phantom armor. The phantom armor had already been recognized by someone else. Only by destroying it could another person control it. Oh no! Seeing the green-robed old man's action, Ningyu's pupils shrank. He was the one who left the soul imprint in the phantom armor. Chapter 1030. Recapture Senior. Has the phantom armor really advanced to the low-grade monarch rank? Ningyu thought of a countermeasure in his mind. Before he could recover to his peak state, Ningyu moved his feet and arrived before the green-robed old man, and then he asked, I remember that the phantom armor was only a mid-grade king rank not long ago, yet it has advanced to the monarch rank? Haha, of course it's the monarch rank. The green-robed elder smiled and said, no matter what, you were the one who helped me find the phantom armor. How about this? After I remove the soul imprint from the phantom armor, I'll let you test its defense. In that case, thank you, Senior. Ningyu awkwardly scratched his head and said, step back, I'm going to. Oh no. The green-robed old man waved his hand. Then, he unleashed his perception and tried to enter the phantom armor. However, as soon as the green-robed old man released his perception, his face changed drastically before he even entered the phantom armor. Left Mouse King, we're under siege. Come quickly. Space surged in midair, and then it transformed into a row of large words. Damn it! Cursing inwardly, the green-robed elder grabbed the mirage armor, tore space apart, and dived into it. Phantom armor, come back. After the green-robed elder entered the void, Ningyu tried to communicate with the phantom armor. Whoosh! Who would have thought that Ningyu's communication would cause the phantom armor to fly out of the void? I'm so mad. Who is it? Following that, the green-robed elder's shout came from the void. Senior, it's the venerable wind of the ice domain sacred heavenly gate. How could Ningyu miss such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? He shouted hastily. Venerable wind, sacred heaven gate. Just you wait. The green-robed old man's vicious voice rang out, but it quickly disappeared. The space that had been torn apart in midair also closed up, and everything returned to normal. That was close. It wasn't until 4 or 5 minutes later that Ningyu recovered from the shock and thought to himself that it was a close call. Ningyu was just testing it, but unexpectedly, the phantom armor directly tore through the void and flew back, hovering above his head. The green-robed old man was careless. If he had removed my soul imprint first, I would not have been able to control the phantom armor. Ningyu felt a little scared. A single misstep would have caused everlasting sorrow. But overall, it wasn't a loss this time. The blame had already been shifted to Venerable Wind, shifted to the Sacred Heaven sect. Even if the Phantom Rat clan wanted to cause trouble in the future, they wouldn't look for him. They would definitely look for the Sacred Heaven Gate and Venerable Wind. Ningyu. On the other side, Venerable Wind clenched his fists tightly. His face was filled with rage. Venerable Wind had never been so angry before. How could he escape after being targeted by the Phantom Rat clan? Not to mention the fact that he hadn't recovered to his peak state yet. Even if he did and advanced to the 9th grade Human Supreme, it wouldn't be of any use. The Phantom Rat was the same as the Sky Devourer dog. They were both ancient demonic beasts. Any random left Rat King had the cultivation of a peak 7th grade Human Supreme. One could imagine that the Emperor among them must be extremely terrifying. Venerable Wind. With a thought, Ningyu put on the Phantom Armor. No matter what, wearing the Phantom Armor instantly boosted Ningyu's confidence. The Phantom Armor was the treasure of the Phantom Rat clan. Now, it had advanced to the lower grade of the Emperor rank. With Venerable Wind's current strength, he couldn't break it at all. None of us are at our peak state. According to my estimation, you only have about the battle power of a 3rd grade Human Supreme. Ningyu said indifferently. Even though I only have about the battle power of a 3rd grade Human Supreme, you're not any better. Venerable Wind snorted coldly. If I'm not wrong, your strength has also declined greatly. As for the Beast King, the Sword of Evil, the Earthshaker, and the 8-legged Centipede, they only have the battle power of a 1st grade Human Supreme. Even if you guys join forces, you won't be my match. You can give it a try, Ningyu said indifferently. Ningyu, as long as you hand over the phantom armor, I can give you a quick death. Suddenly, Venerable Wind thought of something and said in a deep voice, "You're going to die anyway. It's a waste to leave a treasure like the phantom armor on you." "You want the phantom armor?" Ningyu raised his eyebrows. "I can give you the phantom armor, but the condition is that you think you can negotiate with me? If you know what's good for you, then hand over the phantom armor. Otherwise, I'll let you know what cruelty is." Venerable Wind interrupted Ningyu's words and said coldly, "You won't even agree to my condition. Why should I give you the phantom armor?" Ningyu rejected. "You're courting death." Feng Zunja loudly cursed when he heard Ningyu's refusal. Immediately, he rose from the ground and charged towards Ningyu. "Watch out!" The Beast King and the Sword of Evil immediately warned. Bang! However, just as the Beast King and the Sword of Evil's warning rang out, Ningyu was struck by Venerable Wind's fist on his chest and flew out like a kite with a broken string. Fart! Ningyu's face turned pale as he spurted out a mouthful of blood. "Don't do anything." Seeing that the Beast King and the Sword of Evil wanted to help, Ningyu immediately stood up and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He said in a low voice, "A mere Venerable Wind can't do anything to me. Ha ha ha." Venerable Wind laughed maniacally. Then, he changed the topic and said coldly, "Ningyu, killing you is easier than killing an ant. Is that so?" Ningyu wasn't scared by Venerable Wind. Instead, he said, "I'd like to see how outstanding the sacred heaven gate's Venerable Wind is. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Being looked down upon by Ningyu again and again, Venerable Wind was furious. "I'm about to kill you with my first move, and you're still talking big. There's a good saying, you won't die if you don't ask for it." Rumble. Venerable Wind and Ningyu started fighting in mid-air. It was obvious that Ningyu was at a disadvantage. "Sword of Evil, you're more familiar with Ningyu. Can you tell me what he's doing?" Seeing that Ningyu was at a disadvantage with every move and was almost hit a few times, the Beast King couldn't help but look worried. "I'm not sure either." The Sword of Evil shook his head and said, "Ningyu is a scheming person. He must have his reasons for doing this." "Reasons?" The Beast King frowned slightly and said, "What's the use? Venerable Wind has already recovered to the 3rd grade human supreme martial artist realm. If we don't help Ningyu, Ningyu might be defeated or even killed." Bang! As he spoke, Ningyu was hit by Venerable Wind again and his body flew out again. This time, Ningyu's injuries were much more serious. Ningyu stood up shakily from the ground, flicked his wrist, and drew out the red demon sword. "Win, Venerable Wind, you want to kill me? It's not that easy." Chapter 1031. Ningyu, you're still so stubborn even at death's door. I have to say, you're the most arrogant warrior I've ever met. The corner of Venerable Wind's mouth curled up. "You're finished, completely finished. I'll give you one last, no need. I've said it before. It won't be that easy for you to kill me," Ningyu said in a deep voice. "All right, I'll fulfill your wish." Venerable Wind's eyes turned cold. He rose from the ground and charged at Ningyu again. Swoosh, swoosh. This time, the Beast King and the Sword of Evil couldn't bear to watch any longer. The two of them tore through the void and arrived in front of Ningyu, blocking a fatal blow for Ningyu. "You two have deep feelings for each other. Since you're courting death, I'll get rid of you before I kill Ningyu." Venerable Wind wasn't a stubborn person. He didn't rush to kill Ningyu. Instead, he changed his direction and started to attack the Beast King and the Sword of Evil. The Beast King and the Sword of Evil's current battle strength was only equivalent to a Grade 1 human supreme. However, Venerable Wind was equivalent to a Grade 3 human supreme. Even if the Beast King and the Sword of Evil joined forces, they definitely wouldn't be a match for Venerable Wind. Bang! Bang! Reality proved. It wasn't that Venerable Wind was arrogant. It was that the Beast King and the Sword of Evil weren't a match for Venerable Wind at all. Venerable Wind only used 2 moves to defeat the Beast King and the Sword of Evil. Go! The eight-legged centipede and Earthshaker glanced at each other before flashing out in unison, and they charged towards the wind Venerable One. Bang! The outcome of the eight-legged centipede and the rest was not much different from that of the Beast King. In fact, their ending was even more miserable than the Beast King's. Venerable Wind defeated the Earthshaker and the eight-legged centipede with just one move. Venerable Wind, if you want the phantom armor, I can give it to you. At this time, Ningyu's voice sounded in the area. Oh, you're enlightened. Hearing this, Venerable Wind turned around and looked at Ningyu. He said, throw the phantom armor over. I will let them go after I confirm that there are no other problems. Whoosh. Ningyu took off the phantom armor and threw it to Venerable Wind. Ding. However, Ningyu's strength was obviously insufficient. He only managed to throw the phantom armor 10 feet in front of him. Don't try to play tricks. Venerable Wind unleashed his senses and paid close attention to Ningyu's changes. Then, he approached the phantom armor step by step. During this time, Ningyu was still swaying and there was no change in his expression. Phantom armor. Venerable Wind stopped 10 feet away from Ningyu and carefully grabbed the phantom armor in his hand. Venerable Wind, don't you want to get rid of the soul imprint in the phantom armor? Ningyu's voice was heard again. The phantom armor has recognized me as its owner. If you want to control it, you must get rid of the soul imprint I left in it. You don't have to worry about that. I know what I'm doing. Venerable Wind put the phantom armor in a storage bag and said coldly, since you've been obedient, I'll give you a quick death. As soon as the word quick was said, Venerable Wind's body gradually became illusory. In a split second, Venerable Wind appeared beside Ningyu. Swoosh. A punch brought with it an extremely violent Yuan Qi wind as it fiercely punched towards Ningyu's head. Although Venerable Wind did not use his full strength in this punch, he still used 90% of his strength. From Venerable Wind's point of view, Ningyu would definitely be killed by him. What? However, before Venerable Wind's fist could land on Ningyu's head, his expression changed. This was because Venerable Wind realized that Ningyu had disappeared in front of him. Not good, there's a plan. Venerable Wind shouted and immediately retreated. It's a little too late to realize it now. Ningyu quietly appeared behind Venerable Wind with the red demon sword in his hand and pierced through Venerable Wind's heart. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Didn't you lose your ability to fight? Why didn't your combat power weaken, but instead become stronger? Venerable Wind roared like a madman. There's a saying that goes, you can't catch the wolf without risking the child. Ningyu shrugged and said, if I didn't pretend to lose my ability to fight, and didn't pretend to be crazy, would you have fallen for it? Impossible. Beast King and the rest acted very realistically. Venerable Wind still did not believe it. In order to kill you, I didn't even tell Beast King and the rest. I tried to be as realistic as possible. As he spoke, Ningyu withdrew the red demon sword and said, to be able to die under the red demon sword, consider it a blessing from your past life. Fart. When the red demon sword left Venerable Wind's body, Venerable Wind spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Phew. When everything was settled, Ningyu let out a long sigh of relief. This trip to Beast King's palace was too dreamy. His cultivation had advanced to grade 1 human supreme martial artist, and he had also received the Earthshaker, the eight-legged centipede, and the Sword of Evil, these powerful beasts and martial artists. The phantom armor had also advanced to lower grade royal level, and its defense had greatly increased. Most importantly, he had saved his father, Ning Hai, and removed the extreme yin body from Lu Wei. Everything caused Ningyu to feel that it was unreal. But all of this had indeed happened. Buzz. Just as Ningyu was feeling emotional, the main energy body and the small energy body tore through the void and escaped while Ningyu was unprepared. Want to leave? Not so easy. Law of space. Ningyu bellowed, directly activating the law of space. The strength of the main energy body and the small energy body was greatly reduced. Naturally, they were no match for the law of space. Soon, they were escorted by the law of space to Ningyu. Swish. Swish. The two energy bodies kept swaying, as if saying that Ningyu had said that he would let them go as long as they survived the crisis. I did say that I would let you go as long as you survived the crisis. But now, the crisis is not over yet. Ningyu said, you'd better behave. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen. Helpless, the two energy bodies could only stay in the air, not daring to act rashly. Without the law of space, they would have escaped long ago, and they would have killed Ningyu as well. Now that the law of space was watching, they naturally had no chance to escape. Clap, clap, clap. Not long after Ningyu's voice faded, a series of popping sounds rang out from the void. Buzz. Thereafter, two cultivators tore through the void and appeared before Ningyu. Yunmu, Talisman Venerable. Looking at the two familiar silhouettes, Ningyu did not feel excited. On the contrary, he revealed a grave expression. The reason for that was because their cultivations had increased by leaps and bounds. Among them, Yunmu had advanced to 3rd grade Sovereign. As for Talisman Venerable, he had advanced to 5th grade Sovereign. In his peak state, Ningyu would definitely not be afraid of the two of them. However, Ningyu's strength had declined too much. After his battle with Venerable Wind, only death awaited him if he were to face Yunmu and Talisman Venerable. Chapter 1032. Don't understand. A scholar who has been away for 3 days must be treated differently. Looks like this saying is right. After the Talisman Supremacy appeared, the first thing he did was to look at Ningyu. Sensing the aura emanating from Ningyu, the Talisman Supremacy was a little shocked. Grade 1 Human Sovereign. Ningyu's cultivation had already advanced from half-step Sovereign to Grade 1 Human Sovereign. This advancement speed was truly terrifying. Talisman Supremacy. I think the phrase treated differently is more suitable for you and Yunmu. Since the Talisman Supremacy did not make a move immediately, Ningyu relaxed a little. It seemed like the Talisman Supremacy was rather fearful of the Beast King and the Sword of Evil. As the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. At his peak, the Beast King was an early Grade 8 Human Sovereign. At his peak, the Sword of Evil was a peak Grade 8 Human Sovereign. As the Talisman Supremacy was not here just now, he did not know that the Beast King and the Sword of Evil were extremely weak and frail. Haha. The Talisman Supremacy looked around and smiled. I'm very curious. There are so many demonic beasts around. How did you kill them all? One by one. Ningyu said indifferently. His tone did not change. Swish. As he spoke, Ningyu sat down cross-legged and circulated the spiritual art to absorb the surrounding essence energy. Seeing Ningyu's actions, the Talisman Supremacy was a little dumbfounded. I'm talking to you, and you're doing this. Just what is going on? Aunt Yun, beside the Talisman Supremacy, Yunmu said hesitantly, let's leave as soon as possible. I've received news that the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's Grand Elder has already set off. It won't be long before he reaches Profound Sky City. I know what I'm doing. The Talisman Supremacy waved his hand, indicating that Yunmu did not need to ask. Let's test the waters first. Venerable Talisman Marshal stepped on the ground and charged at Ningyu. As he charged, the Talisman Marshal Venerable laughed. Ningyu, you've advanced to the 1st grade Human Sovereign realm. Let me spar with you and see how your talent is. Old fox. Faced with the Talisman Marshal Supremacy that kept charging towards him, Ningyu's face turned extremely gloomy. Without much time to think, Ningyu quickly injected all the essence in his sea of consciousness into the phantom armor and gathered it in front of his chest. Bang! Talisman Supremacy's fist landed on Ningyu's chest. A crisp sound rang out. Ningyu's body was forcibly sent flying, and he only stopped when he hit a huge tree. Ha ha ha, not bad at all. Seeing that Ningyu had blocked his attack and was unscathed, the Talisman Marshal Venerable was briefly stunned before he burst into laughter. Ningyu, if I've guessed correctly, your overall strength should be comparable to a 5th grade Sovereign realm. The Talisman Marshal Venerable was extremely shocked in his heart. Earlier, he had used 80% of his strength in that punch. An ordinary 1st grade Sovereign wouldn't be able to withstand a punch from a 5th grade Sovereign realm with 80% of his strength. Ningyu, on the other hand, was able to block it and seemed to be completely fine. Talisman Marshal Venerable must be joking. How can I be comparable to a fifth-grade sovereign realm? Although he hated the talisman Marshal Venerable in his heart, Ningyu maintained his composure and said, I still have to thank you for showing mercy. Otherwise, I would be a dead man by now. Haha, don't be modest. You're truly powerful. The talisman Marshal Venerable lightly smiled as he asked, Yunmu and I intend to make a trip to the profound Sky City. I wonder if you want to come along? You guys go first, I still have some matters to attend to here. Ningyu said after a brief pondering. Return to the profound Sky City with the talisman Marshal Venerable? Ningyu wasn't that foolish. His top priority now was to recover to his peak state. The reason why Ningyu was able to withstand talisman Marshal Supremacy's punch was that he had injected all his primordial energy into the phantom armor. He relied on the phantom armor to withstand the blow. Otherwise, Ningyu would have died a long time ago. Since that's the case, then we'll retreat. The talisman Marshal Venerable grabbed onto Yunmu's shoulder and tore through space. Huff. Everything left as quickly as it had come. A long time after the talisman Marshal Venerable disappeared, Ningyu heavily breathed out a mouthful of turbid air. That was close. Fortunately, the green-robed elder had refined the mirage armor to low-grade monarch rank. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Ningyu to withstand the talisman Marshal Venerable's attack. Dark Emperor, come out. After waiting for another hour, Ningyu's heart jolted and he shouted in a low voice. Swoosh. The Dark Emperor had been waiting for this moment. As soon as Ningyu spoke, he darted out of the storage ring. His target was Venerable Wind. Venerable Wind was an early-stage 8th-grade sovereign. Although his strength had declined greatly, the energy in his body was still massive. The Dark Emperor was a heaven-devouring hound. He could devour the heavens, earth, and air. He was the best at devouring Venerable Wind. Wait for me for half an hour. The Dark Emperor grabbed Venerable Wind and disappeared in an instant. Parent energy body, small energy body, come here. Ningyu waved his hand at the two energy bodies, gesturing for them to come over. Swoosh, swoosh. The two energy bodies did not dare to delay. They fluttered and came before Ningyu. I promised that as long as you guys help me get through this, I'll let you guys go and return your freedom. Ningyu said indifferently, I'm not a man who goes back on his words. You guys can leave. Hearing Ningyu's words, the parent energy body and the small energy body were stunned. To be honest, they were a little confused. Ningyu let them go just like that. It didn't make sense at all. Weren't humans extremely cunning? With such a good opportunity, the parent energy body and the small energy body would not believe Ningyu. There must be something wrong when something was out of the ordinary. The parent energy body and the small energy body were still hovering in the air and did not leave for a long time. Law of space. Ningyu knew what the two energy bodies were worried about. He controlled the law of space to return to his divine sense and lay dormant. After doing all this, Ningyu found a random rock and sat down. He closed his eyes and started cultivating the spirit transformation technique. Ningyu did not have time to argue with the two energy bodies. He had a lot of things to do, and his time was limited. He must first recover to his peak state and then return to Qianqian City to find a way to cure his father in this life, Ning Hai. Right. Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly summoned Ning Hai from his storage ring. Beast King, Ning is still controlled by the Diamond Goat. You should know how to cure him. Ningyu looked at Beast King and said in a deep voice. When the Diamond Goat left the magic treasure cave, the masked man who followed it was Ning Hai. The Diamond Goat was one of the 4 King Kongs under Beast King's command. Therefore, the Diamond Goat must know how to cure Ning Hai. Beast King might even know some secrets about Ning Hai. However, what Beast King said next made Ningyu want to curse. Controlled by the Diamond Goat? I don't know. I haven't paid attention to the Diamond Goat for 18 years. Chapter 1033. Another enemy. Are you sure you're not kidding me? Ningyu's mouth was slightly agape and his eyes widened in confusion. You're the Beast King of the Beast King Palace, the direct superior of the 4 great guardian deities. How dare you say you don't know what the 4 great guardian deities have been doing for 18 years? Who would believe such words if they were told? Why would I joke with you? I really don't know. The Beast King felt aggrieved. He had been in the Beast King Palace for more than a decade and had devoted himself to refining the supreme deity pill. He had no time to care about other things. Fine, I choose to believe you. After taking a deep breath, Ningyu said, how long will it take for you and the Sword of Evil to recover completely? It will take at least 1 or 2 months to recover completely. The Beast King thought for a while and said, it will take about 2 or 3 hours to recover to the 7th grade human supreme level. I won't be able to recover to my peak state in a short time either. It will take about 3 hours to recover to the 7th grade early stage human supreme level, the Sword of Evil said. 8-legged centipede, Earthshaker, you're still too young. Ningyu looked at the 8-legged centipede and the Earthshaker and asked. We're demonic beasts with strong recovery abilities. We can recover to our peak state in 2 hours. The Earthshaker and the 8-legged centipede said at the same time. There's no time to lose. Let's make the best use of our time to recuperate. We'll set off for Tianqian City in 3 hours. Ningyu shouted in a low voice. Then, with a thought, he controlled the storage ring to shoot out a beam of light, covering Ning Hai inside. Since the Beast King couldn't cure Ningyu, it was safer to keep him in the storage ring. Buzz. At this moment, the main energy body and the smaller energy bodies moved slowly and came before Ningyu. What do you want? I've already let you go. Why are you still bothering me? Looking at the 2 energy bodies in front of him, Ningyu asked doubtfully. The parent energy body and the smaller energy bodies just kept trembling, but didn't say anything. Forget it, whether you leave or not has nothing to do with me. Ningyu curled his lips before he sat down cross-legged and began cultivating using the spirit conversion technique. Swoosh. The main energy form and the small energy form were unwilling to leave. The 2 of them kept circling above Ningyu's head and kept making noises. Ningyu couldn't be bothered with them. The most important thing was to recover to his peak state. The second thing was to manage the energy body. Ningyu knew his priorities. He wholeheartedly focused on recovering, only separating a wisp of his perception to pay close attention to the changes in his surroundings. He could cultivate, but he had to ensure his own safety. Ningyu was not afraid of the 2 energy bodies because he had the law of space. If they weren't prepared when other experts came over, they would really be finished. Drip, drip. Time was ticking away. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. During this hour, Ningyu and the rest had been cultivating. Among them, the 8-legged centipede and the Earthshaker had recovered 80% and were just a step away from recovering to their peak state. The Beast King and the Sword of Evil had only recovered to the 6th grade human supreme martial artist level. They would need at least 2 more hours to recover to the 7th grade early stage human supreme martial artist level. Ningyu was different from them. Ningyu recovered very quickly. After an hour, he had already recovered to his peak state. Swoosh. After recovering to his peak state, Ningyu stood up with a swoosh. Swoosh. However, just as Ningyu stood up, the 2 energy bodies came before him and kept trembling. Can you 2 say something? Forget it. You are energy bodies and haven't reached the level where you can speak. Halfway through his sentence, Ningyu stopped. Playing the lute to a cow. The energy bodies could understand what he said, but he couldn't understand what the energy bodies were saying. They couldn't communicate at all. Swoosh. At this moment, the Dark Emperor flew back from afar. Holy *T. Feeling the aura emitted by the Dark Emperor, Ningyu raised his eyebrows and was shocked. A 1st grade human supreme martial artist. Terrifying, extremely terrifying. While being shocked, Ningyu was a little confused. Dark Emperor, I remember you saying that even if you were given 10,000 royal grade essence crystals, you wouldn't be able to advance to the half-step supreme martial artist level. How did you advance to the 1st grade human supreme martial artist level just by devouring the venerable wind? Ningyu was confused. That's nothing. I found a treasure on the venerable wind and after devouring it, I advanced to the 1st grade human supreme martial artist level. The Dark Emperor said casually. Although the Dark Emperor said it casually, Ningyu could see some clues from the Dark Emperor's curly hair. The Dark Emperor's advancement wasn't smooth. It was much more difficult for a demonic beast to advance to the supreme martial artist level than a human. The fact that the Dark Emperor could advance from the pinnacle of the manifestation realm to the first-grade human supreme martial artist meant that he had endured pain that Chang Shou couldn't. Why? I've already devoured the venerable wind. What do you want? Seeing that Ningyu was still looking at him as if he was a monster, the Dark Emperor took a few steps back and said, I didn't fight with you for the venerable wind. You gave it to me. Don't be unkind. It's fine. I'm very kind. Ningyu smiled and said, now that you've advanced to the first-grade human supreme martial artist level, why don't we have a spar? Sure, let's. I'll do it. The Dark Emperor nodded and replied. However, as soon as the Dark Emperor finished his words, Ningyu rose from the ground and dashed out. The Dark Emperor cursed. Not daring to be careless, he opened his mouth and spat out a cold light. Universe palm. Ningyu flipped his wrist and slapped out a palm in the blink of an eye. In midair, half a Qian character appeared and clashed with the cold light that the Dark Emperor had spewed out. Catcher. Crisp sounds rang out from the two spears before dissipating between heaven and earth. Ningyu, what are you trying to do? After the attack, the Dark Emperor's face darkened and he said, you're trying to sneak up on me? This is simply, take this. The Dark Emperor spat out another ray of cold light when Ningyu was caught off guard. I knew you would use this move. The corner of Ningyu's lips rose and he slapped out another palm. It was the same palm and the same cold light. Catcher. A crisp sound rang out. The cold light and palm disappeared and the Dark Emperor and Ningyu stopped their spar. Ningyu, how did you? The Dark Emperor grumbled. Don't speak. Ningyu frowned and gestured for the Dark Emperor not to speak first. Hearing this, the Dark Emperor tactfully shut his mouth. Every time Ningyu did this, something big was about to happen. Boom. As expected. 3 seconds later, the space in the distance was torn apart. Soon after, several figures appeared from within. Ningyu's face turned gloomy when he saw the sudden appearance of several figures. Ningyu had seen most of these people before. Beast King's 4 great Vajra, 6-winged flying python. Only the skinny old man at the front was someone that Ningyu didn't recognize. It didn't matter if he didn't recognize him, but Ningyu didn't dare to relax at all. Chapter 1034. Blood River Patriarch. Blood River Patriarch. Ningyu was not the only one who was shocked. Even the Beast King, who was trying his best to recover, was shocked. The Beast King's shock was different from Ningyu's. Ningyu was worried that he would not be able to deal with the old man, while the Beast King was stunned. Haha, Beast King, it's been a few decades. How have you been? Blood River Patriarch smiled at the Beast King and asked curiously, I remember that you were an early-stage Earth-grade supreme martial artist a long time ago. Why are you regressing after a few decades? If I'm not wrong, you haven't even reached Earth-grade supreme martial artist. Ha ha ha. At the end of his words, Patriarch Blood River laughed to himself. Diamond Ape. The Beast King ignored Blood River Patriarch and focused his attention on the Diamond Ape behind him. Why did you betray me? The Beast King's expression was ugly. Among the 4 great Vajras, he might not be very angry if the other 3 betrayed him. Only the Diamond Ape betrayed him, which hurt him. In order to save the Diamond Ape, the Beast King and Blood River Patriarch fought for 8 days and 8 nights, and finally sealed the Blood River Patriarch in a bottomless abyss. After returning to the Beast King's palace, the Beast King treated the heavily injured Diamond Ape at all costs. After a long period of recuperation, the Diamond Ape's strength increased rapidly. Today, its cultivation had reached Earth-grade supreme martial artist. Strictly speaking, the other 3 Diamond Apes were recruited by the Diamond Ape and had nothing to do with the Beast King. Beast King, I'm sorry. I've always been Blood River Patriarch's man. The Diamond Ape looked melancholic. After all, he had followed the Beast King for decades. Now that he had betrayed the Beast King, he felt terrible. Beast King, don't blindly compare yourself here. I will give you one chance. Kneel down and kowtow to me a few times. After that, open your mind and allow me to leave a drop of blood essence in your sea of wisdom." Ancestor Blood River waved his hand, indicating to the Beast King not to waste his energy. "No matter how flowery your words are, it's impossible for the Diamond Ape to return to your side. Beast King, Patriarch Sword Evil, can the two of you fight Patriarch Blood River if you join forces?" On the surface, Ningyu didn't say a word, but he secretly sent a soul message to the Beast King and Sword Evil Patriarch. It should be possible. Beast King and Sword Evil Patriarch looked at each other and nodded at the same time. "How about this? Give me 5 minutes. I'll try my best to finish off the Diamond Ape within 5 minutes. Ningyu had a determined look on his face. Understood. The Beast King knew the severity of the situation. He could only choose to believe in Ningyu. There was no other way. Although Ancestor Blood River was a terrifying mid-7th grade human supreme, the Diamond Ape was equally fearsome. An early 7th grade human supreme, the Diamond Ape's cultivation was only slightly lower than Ancestor Blood River's. "Go." With a low roar, the Beast King charged out with both feet on the ground. The Beast King's target was Ancestor Blood River. Swish. The Sword Evil followed closely behind the Beast King with his Emperor low-grade flying sword in hand. Arrogant. The corners of Ancestor Blood River's mouth curled up when he saw the Beast King overestimating himself and charging toward him. He immediately waved his hands and 2 palm prints separated from his palms. Hiss. The palm prints were so fast that they arrived before the Beast King in the blink of an eye and slapped toward the Beast King's head. Crack. At the critical moment, the Beast King threw out a punch that collided with the palm print. The two collided and everything disappeared. Ancestor Blood River, I didn't expect your strength to decline so much after so many years. After one move, the Beast King said coldly, "A few decades ago, you were still an early 7th grade human supreme and you could already fight against me, an early 8th grade human supreme. Have you been living like a dog for the past few decades? Beast King, it's too early for you to be happy." Ancestor Blood River shrugged with an indifferent expression. "Early?" The Beast King frowned slightly. Swish. At this moment, another huge palm print appeared beside the Beast King and slapped toward the Beast King's head. Move. At the critical moment, the Sword Evil kicked the Beast King and sent the Beast King flying several feet away. Rumble. The Sword Evil's kick allowed the Beast King to avoid a fatal attack. "You're courting death." Seeing that his sure-kill move was countered by the Sword Evil, the Blood River ancestor's face darkened to the extreme. The Blood River ancestor's hatred for the Beast King was greater than the heavens. If not for the Beast King, the Real King of the magical Beast Mountain Range would be him. The Beast King's palace would also be renamed the Blood River Palace. The Blood River ancestor had been silent for so many years just to kill the Beast King when he was down. Now that the Sword Evil was messing around, how could the Blood River ancestor not be angry? How could he not be angry? "Today, I'm going to cut all of you into pieces." The next moment, the Blood River ancestor's body gradually disappeared into the void. 8-legged centipede, Earthshaker, Dark Emperor, follow me to face the enemy. Ningyu did not want to waste 5 minutes. He had to think of a way to kill the Diamond Ape within 5 minutes. Or, convince the Diamond Ape. Let the Diamond Ape deal with the Blood River ancestor together. The more Ningyu thought about it, the more feasible this idea seemed. "Don't make a move first." Taking a deep breath, Ningyu walked step by step towards the Diamond Ape. On the surface, Ningyu's speed did not seem fast. But in the eyes of the Diamond Ape, Ningyu's speed was extremely fast. "Diamond Ape, you've followed the Beast King for so many years. To betray the Beast King now is a bit unkind." Ningyu's real body had already arrived in front of the Diamond Ape. The Ningyu walking slowly behind him was just an illusory shadow. "Whether or not I betray the Beast King doesn't seem to have anything to do with you, does it?" The Diamond Ape said coldly. "Indeed, it doesn't matter. But what I want to tell you is that demonic beasts have self-awareness." Ningyu said indifferently, "Blood River ancestor can kill the Beast King today. If you offend him one day, he will definitely kill you as well." "Nonsense." The Diamond Ape scolded, My relationship with the Blood River ancestor is not for you to say. There's a chance. Ningyu's eyes were fixed on the diamond ape's face. Especially when the diamond ape said the words nonsense, Ningyu's expression changed from solemn to joyful. Diamond ape, I know you have something difficult to say. Tell me and I might be able to help you. Ningyu said. You're courting death. The diamond ape's eyes flickered and immediately shot out, charging towards Ningyu. A good chance. Looking at the diamond ape that was charging towards him, Ningyu did not dodge. Instead, he closed his eyes. Bang! A crisp sound rang out. Ningyu was like a kite with a broken string, flying straight to the back. So that's how it is. Chapter 1035. Reaching an agreement. Ningyu. When the eight-legged centipede and earth-shaking bull saw Ningyu being sent flying several feet away by the diamond ape, they hastily rushed out and caught Ningyu. I'm fine. Ningyu pushed the eight-legged centipede and the earthshaker away and walked toward the diamond ape. This time, Ningyu walked very quickly and arrived at the diamond ape's side in an instant. He whispered, Beast Essence Dispersal. What? The diamond ape originally wanted to kill Ningyu, but when he heard Ningyu say the words Beast Essence Dispersal, his expression immediately changed. Beast Essence Dispersal is a type of medicine that specifically targets demonic beasts. Its medicinal effects are overbearing. Without paying attention to the diamond ape's shocked expression, Ningyu continued, humans who consume Beast Essence Dispersal will die immediately. Demonic beasts who consume Beast Essence Dispersal will turn into puppet demonic beasts. In other words, they will be controlled by others. If my guess is correct, you have been afflicted with Beast Essence Dispersal since several decades ago. Everything you do is beyond your control. Ningyu, stop acting mysterious and spouting nonsense. The diamond ape said coldly, I'll give you a chance to live. Be tactful. You should know the current condition of your body better than I do. Ningyu waved his hand and interrupted the diamond ape's words. The Beast Essence Dispersal has already spread throughout your body. If you can't expel it in time, you may not live for more than 3 days. The diamond ape was startled, and large beads of sweat appeared on its forehead. Suddenly, the diamond ape shouted angrily, You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Six-winged sky-soaring python, go kill this brat. Yes. Upon receiving the order, the six-winged sky-soaring python immediately flew out and roared as it launched a powerful attack at Ningyu. Come out. Looking at the six-winged flying python flying toward him, Ningyu's mind jolted, and he controlled the 2 small flying pythons in his storage ring to fly out. When they were in the Beast King Palace, there were a total of 6 little flying pythons following Ningyu. When they reached the core hall, there were only 2 mini flying pythons left. Now that the 6-winged sky-soaring python wanted to kill Ningyu, how could Ningyu just stand there and let it kill him? 6-winged sky-soaring python, if you don't want them to die, you'd better stop. Ningyu held the red demon sword and placed it on the little flying python's neck as he growled. Whoosh! The 6-winged sky-soaring python stopped in midair with a whoosh, refusing to advance for a long time. Get lost. Ningyu sheathed the red demon sword and kicked out twice, sending the little flying mosquito flying far away. Shoo! The little flying python flew away, but the 6-winged flying python wouldn't just sit and wait for death. He immediately gave up on Ningyu and chased after the little flying python. Diamond Ape, if I can help you get rid of the scattered beast energy in your body within 3 minutes, will you help me deal with Patriarch Blood River? Turning his head to look at the Beast King and the Sword of Evil, who could lose at any time, Ningyu knew that he was running out of time. If he couldn't gain the Diamond Ape's trust and make it believe in him, everything would turn for the worse. How can you make me believe in you? The Diamond Ape's face was gloomy. Recently, whenever he wanted to cultivate, his internal organs would be in excruciating pain, tormenting him to the point where he hovered between life and death. Furthermore, Patriarch Blood River had given him a time limit of 3 days to find 10 5th-grade human supremacy realm humans. With the current condition of his body, it was obvious that he couldn't fulfill Patriarch Blood River's request. It's very simple. I can make a heavenly oath. As long as you relax your mind, I will definitely get rid of the scattered beast energy in your body within 3 minutes. Seeing that there was hope, Ningyu hurriedly said, "All right. Make a heavenly oath first." After pondering for 3 seconds, the Beast King said in a low voice, "I make a heavenly oath." Without delay, Ningyu immediately forced out a drop of blood and made a heavenly oath. Rumble. Just as Ningyu made the heavenly oath, before he could help the diamond ape, a rumbling sound came from the other side. Without even looking, Ningyu could guess that it was the Beast King and the Sword of Evil who couldn't hold on any longer. "Ningyu, don't even think about playing any tricks. If I want to kill you, it's easier than killing an ant." If it wasn't for the scattered beast energy, how could the diamond ape let Ningyu do as he pleased? Even if there was only a 1 in 1,000 chance, the diamond ape was willing to try. What if the scattered beast energy in his body was expelled? He had to look on the bright side. Remember, you must open up your mind. Ningyu unreservedly released his soul force and combined it with his perception. He entered the diamond ape's body. Hiss. As soon as his perception entered the diamond ape's body, Ningyu couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. The diamond ape's situation was more miserable than he had expected. 3 minutes should be very difficult. Fight. No matter how difficult it was, Ningyu had to do it. If he didn't, he would definitely be killed by the Blood River ancestor. If he did, he still had a chance to expel the scattered beast energy from the diamond ape's body and let it help him deal with the Blood River ancestor. The diamond ape's cultivation was at the early stage of the 7th grade supreme being. The Sword of Evil and the Beast King might not be a match for the Blood River ancestor, but with the diamond ape, they had an 80% chance of winning. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu forced out a few drops of blood and sent them into the diamond ape's body. TSK. The scattered beast energy was very potent and had already penetrated deep into the diamond ape's internal organs. Ningyu didn't dare to relax at all. The slightest bit of carelessness would cause the backlash to intensify. At that time, even he would be implicated. What an old fox. As Ningyu helped the diamond ape expel the scattered beast energy, he secretly observed the diamond ape's movements. The diamond ape was indeed very smart. He was afraid of being ambushed by Ningyu, so he focused all his perception on Ningyu. Drip. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, a minute had passed. The effect was very obvious in the first minute. Ningyu had already expelled a quarter of the scattered beast energy from the diamond ape's body. At this rate, it would probably take another 3 minutes for the diamond ape to regain its freedom. No, it's too late. Ningyu only had 2 minutes left. In other words, he had to help the diamond ape expel all the scattered beast energy from its body within 2 minutes. Otherwise, everything would be for naught. Diamond Tiger, Diamond Panther, Diamond Goat, the 3 of you go help the Beast King. As if he had guessed what Ningyu was thinking, the diamond ape made the best decision in his life. He let out a low roar and transmitted a message to Diamond Tiger and the rest. No matter what, you have to delay the Blood River ancestor. Whoosh. Diamond Tiger and the rest were originally under the diamond ape's control. Now that the diamond ape had given them the order, they did not hesitate and immediately joined the battle. Vajra Tiger, Vajra Panther, and Vajra Goat were all 6th grade mortal sovereigns. With their participation, the Beast King and the Sword of Evil felt the pressure lessen. Diamond Ape, what the hell are you doing? Chapter 1036. I have a favor to ask. The diamond ape glanced at Patriarch Blood River and did not say anything. At this time, the beast essence in the diamond ape's body was rapidly decreasing. How could it have the time to talk nonsense with Blood River Patriarch? In another 3 minutes, the diamond ape would say goodbye to the damned beast essence powder. He couldn't be bothered with Blood River ancestor. Beast essence powder. How smart was Patriarch Blood River? When he saw the movements of Ningyu and the diamond ape, he instantly understood. Beast essence dispersal. Ningyu was definitely helping the diamond ape expel the beast essence from its body. It's not that easy to expel the beast essence powder. How could Patriarch Blood River allow Ningyu to do as he pleased? He shouted in a low voice, and with a thought, he controlled the Vajra ape's beast essence to erupt. Diamond Ape, I told you a long time ago that if you try to dispel the beast essence powder, I will let you know. Poochie. However, before Patriarch Blood River could finish speaking, he spat out a mouthful of dark red blood. Patriarch Blood River, you dare to be distracted while fighting us? You're simply courting death. Taking advantage of Patriarch Blood River's carelessness, Beast King punched Patriarch Blood River's chest. The Beast King's punch was so heavy that it sent Patriarch Blood River flying. Blood spewed out as his aura plummeted. Ha ha ha. Seeing that his aura was about to plummet to rock bottom, Patriarch Blood River did not get angry. Instead, he laughed maniacally. Beast King, it's not that I look down on you, but even if there were 10 of you, you wouldn't be able to defeat me. After laughing maniacally, Patriarch Blood River took out a pill from his bosom and threw it into his mouth to chew. Catcher. After swallowing the pill, Patriarch Blood River's aura returned to peak middle stage rank 7. Divine Essence Pill. The Beast King's eyes were very sharp. The moment the Beast King took out the elixir, he could tell the name of the elixir. Divine Essence Pill. A late-stage grade 9 medicinal pill had a miraculous effect on the recovery of essence chi. As long as one's cultivation was lower than a 9th grade human sovereign, a divine essence pill could instantly replenish all the yuan chi consumed. You didn't expect it, did you? When you threw me into the bottomless abyss, I found a jade bottle at the bottom of the abyss. Blood River Patriarch took out the jade bottle and shook it, saying, there are a total of 6 divine essence pills in the jade bottle. In the process of flying up from the bottomless abyss, I consumed a divine essence pill. Now, fighting with you, I consumed another divine essence pill. A divine essence pill is equivalent to having an extra life. What do you have to fight with me? Patriarch Blood River said proudly, not taking the Beast King seriously at all. I've had enough fun. You guys can die now. Patriarch Blood River punched out 3 times in a row. Bang, bang, bang. Each of the 3 punches was very powerful. King Kong Goat, King Kong Tiger, King Kong Leopard. These 3 great Vajras couldn't even withstand a single move from Patriarch Blood River before they were completely annihilated. Sword of Evil, go all out. The Beast King looked extremely gloomy. Other people could replenish their essence chi with divine essence pills. When his essence chi was depleted, he could only replenish it with royal grade essence crystals. The difference between the two was obvious. Go all out. What a joke. Didn't you guys go all out just now? Hee hee. Patriarch Blood River smiled faintly, and his figure immediately turned illusory. Fart. In the next moment, Patriarch Blood River appeared behind the Sword of Evil and the Beast King and punched out twice in a row. Without a doubt, one punch landed on the Beast King's back and the other on the Sword of Evil's back. The huge force from their backs sent the Beast King and the Sword of Evil flying out and falling at Ningyu's feet. Whoosh. As if he didn't see the Beast King and the Sword of Evil, Ningyu suddenly opened his eyes and slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. A blessing in disguise, Diamond Ape. You've gained a blessing in disguise this time. Ningyu stared at the Diamond Ape with a happy expression. Due to the influence of the beast essence dissipation, the Diamond Ape's cultivation had stagnated at the early stage 7th grade human supreme for many years. This time, Ningyu helped him expel the beast essence dissipation out of his body, allowing him to break through the limit of early stage 7th grade human supreme and advance to mid-stage 7th grade human supreme. Diamond Ape, how confident are you in defeating Patriarch Blood River? Ningyu turned to look at the Diamond Ape and asked. Less than 30%. The Diamond Ape said in a low voice. At this point, the Diamond Ape paused for a moment and continued, as long as the Beast King and the Sword of Evil help me and snatch the divine essence pills from Patriarch Blood River, I have an 80% chance of killing him. Although the crisis of the beast essence dissipation had been resolved, the pressure on the Diamond Ape's body had been greatly reduced. However, the Diamond Ape did not completely relax. Patriarch Blood River was very capable. As long as Blood River Patriarch was not killed, the Diamond Ape would not be at ease. Right now, there was only one thought in the Diamond Ape's mind, and that was to kill Patriarch Blood River at all cost. Diamond Ape, you traitor, I'll let you know the consequences of betraying me. Patriarch Blood River's face was gloomy, but he did not attack immediately. I betrayed you. The diamond ape pointed at his nose and said coldly, if you did not use the beast essence dissipation to restrain me, how could I be at your mercy for decades? Diamond ape, do you think you're a match for me? Blood River Patriarch gave up because he could not convince the diamond ape. He changed the topic and said, although you've also advanced to the mid-stage 7th grade human supreme, compared to me, we're worlds apart. If I wanted to kill you, it would be easier than squashing an ant. I know what you're worried about. The diamond ape said emotionlessly. You don't have absolute confidence in defeating the Beast King, the Sword of Evil, and me, so you want to defeat us one by one. Blood Moon Annihilation. No one could figure out Patriarch Blood River's actions or guess what he was doing. A moment ago, he was still talking to the diamond ape, and the next moment, he waved his palm and a huge palm print flew out. Ningyu, you retreat first. No matter what, Ningyu had helped him expel the beast essence dissipation, so how could the diamond ape let Ningyu fight Patriarch Blood River? The diamond ape pushed Ningyu away and engaged in a fierce battle with Blood River Ancestor. Quickly recover. The Beast King and the Sword of Evil were not fools. They knew that this was a rare opportunity, and if they missed it, they might not get it again in their lifetime. Although the diamond ape's strength was the same as Patriarch Blood River, it was not realistic for him to kill Patriarch Blood River. There was only one way to kill Patriarch Blood River, and that was for the Beast King and the Sword of Evil to recover to the 7th grade human supreme realm and fight Patriarch Blood River to the death. Only then would there be a chance of survival. Mother Energy Form, Little Energy Form, I have something to ask of you. Ningyu heard everything that the diamond ape said just now. Snatch the Divine Essence Elixir. As a 9th grade peak alchemist in his previous life, Ningyu had personally refined a few cauldrons of Divine Essence Elixir, so he knew how terrifying it was. Once he snatched the Divine Essence Elixir, the Sword of Evil and the Beast King would instantly recover to the 7th grade intermediate realm. Even. Chapter 1037. Buzz. The main energy body and the smaller energy bodies swayed in the air, their meaning clear. Think of a way to snatch the Divine Essence pills from Blood River Patriarch. Ningyu said fiercely, as long as you snatch the Divine Essence pills, I'll let you devour Blood River Patriarch after he's dead. Buzz. The main energy body and the smaller energy bodies swayed in the air, not replying to Ningyu immediately. After all, Blood River Patriarch was a mid-stage 7th grade human supreme. He was very powerful. Going against him now was like throwing an egg against a rock. It was extremely dangerous. Ningyu, I have a way to snatch the Divine Essence pills from Blood River Patriarch. The Dark Emperor said hastily. He couldn't help with what happened earlier, but he had to help with the Divine Essence pills now. Get lost. Blood River Patriarch is a mid-stage 7th grade human supreme. What can you, a 1st grade human supreme, do? Ningyu glared at the Dark Emperor angrily, signaling him not to make trouble. I really do have a way. But the prerequisite is that you and the energy bodies cooperate with me. The Dark Emperor knew that Ningyu did not believe him, so he continued, the two energy bodies will create energy clones to confuse the Blood River Patriarch. As for you, lend me the phantom armor. When the time comes, I will fight the Blood River Patriarch's attack head-on and snatch the Divine Essence pill for you. Nonsense. Ningyu rejected directly, don't meddle in this matter. I know what I'm doing. Return to the storage ring immediately. Don't take a step out of the storage ring without my permission. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. The Dark Emperor wanted to snatch the Divine Essence pills. That was a joke among jokes. The Divine Essence pill was a precious elixir that Blood River Patriarch would definitely view as a treasure. He wouldn't take it out until the very last moment. Under this condition, he could only have a chance to snatch the Divine Essence pills when he least expected it. All right. Helpless, the Dark Emperor could only respond before transforming into a streak of cold light and entering the spatial ring. Ningyu, actually, the Dark Emperor's method should be the best one at this stage. After the Dark Emperor disappeared, the Red Devil's voice sounded in Ningyu's mind. Sigh, how could I not know this is the best way? Ningyu sighed, the Dark Emperor has just reached the 1st grade mortal sovereign realm not long ago. I'm worried about leaving such a dangerous task to him. I'll ask you one last time. Are you going to help me or not? Ningyu turned around and looked at the two energy bodies in the air. Whoosh, whoosh. The mother energy form and the small energy form looked at each other before flying out. The target of both energy bodies was Patriarch Blood River, Kai Kai. However, the parent energy body and the smaller energy bodies were not that stupid. They kept creating energy clones to deal with Patriarch Blood River. What? Patriarch Blood River and the Diamond Ape were having a good battle, and he was even suppressing the Diamond Ape. Who would have thought that a moment of carelessness would cause an overwhelming amount of energy clones to attack him? These energy clones were not particularly strong. The stronger ones were at the first-grade mortal sovereign realm, while the weaker ones were at the half-step supremacy realm. Although they were not strong, there were a lot of them. With the addition of so many energy clones, the pressure on the Diamond Ape was greatly reduced. Die. Patriarch Blood River was indeed Patriarch Blood River. He waved his hands continuously, and in an instant, countless fist lights flew out. Every fist light would cause an energy clone to be destroyed. Not good. Ningyu had already expected this situation. At the start, he did not have much of a change in his emotions, but was thinking about when to make a move. However, Ningyu's imperceptible glance caused his expression to change drastically. The mother energy form and the smaller energy form did not have enough energy. It's over, it's over. Eight-legged centipede, Earthshaker, how many royal grade origin crystals do you have? Ningyu said with his teeth clenched. Without energy replenishment, the mother energy form and the smaller energy form would definitely not be able to hold on. By then, everyone would be done for. Here. Earthshaker threw a storage bag over, and Ningyu caught it firmly. Not origin crystals. All of them are high-grade fruits. Ningyu did not care about the consequences. He threw the fruits together with the storage bag to the mother energy form and the smaller energy form. Crack, crack. Almost in an instant, the storage bag was completely devoured by the two energy bodies, not even a scrap was left. Buzz. With energy, the mother energy form and the smaller energy form continuously split the energy clones. Diamond Ape, Beast King, Sword of Evil, the three of you attack Patriarch Blood River from the front and attract his attention. Ningyu clenched his teeth, and his body gradually merged into the void. Go. The Beast King and the rest were very intelligent, so they naturally knew what Ningyu was planning. Moreover, they had no other choice but to attack Patriarch Blood River with all their might to buy time for Ningyu. Energy form. Patriarch Blood River destroyed the energy clones, clenched his fists, and dashed out in an instant. Patriarch Blood River's target was the mother energy form and the energy clones. Your opponents are us. At that moment, the Beast King and the Sword of Evil stood in front of the two energy forms. Among them, the Beast King shouted, Patriarch Blood River, this day next year will be the anniversary of your death. Me. Loser, since you guys want to die, I'll fulfill your wish first. Then, I'll deal with the energy forms. Ancestor Blood River snorted coldly and was the first to charge at the Beast King. Patriarch Blood River was so fast that in the eyes of the Beast King, he was just a shadow. Bang! A punch brought with it a violent primal chi wind, and it slammed into the Beast King's chest. With such a powerful punch, the Beast King was sent retreating and out of sight. Patriarch Blood River, eat my sword. After the Beast King was pushed back, the Sword of Evil slashed out a sword radiance and rushed toward Patriarch Blood River. Small tricks. Patriarch Blood River did not care about the Sword of Evil's sword radiance. He casually fanned out a cold light and instantly dispersed the sword radiance. Ding. Moreover, Patriarch Blood River clenched his right fist and punched the royal low-grade flying sword in the Sword of Evil's hand. With a crisp sound, the Sword of Evil and the flying sword were sent flying. Your hand. The Sword of Evil shouted the moment it was sent flying. That's right, my hand is not an ordinary hand. I've already refined it into a magic weapon. The corners of Patriarch Blood River's mouth curled up, and he said sinisterly, according to the classification of magic weapons, it's at least a mid-grade royal. Your flying sword is only a low-grade royal. How can it be a match for me? Eat my fist. In a flash, the Diamond Ape had already arrived in front of Patriarch Blood River. The Diamond Ape's physique was especially strong, and he wanted to fight Patriarch Blood River head-on. Hehe, I just said that my right hand is a magic weapon, and it's a mid-grade royal. You came to die. Chapter 1038. Divine Essence Pill Flying Ape Fizz. The Diamond Ape did not seem to hear Blood River Patriarch's words. He channeled all his Yuan Qi into his right wrist and threw a backhand punch that collided with Blood River Patriarch's unavoidable fist. Crack! The two fists collided, and the result was predictable. A crisp sound rang out. The Diamond Ape's body flew backward like a kite with a broken string. Bang! Compared to the Beast King and the Sword of Evil, the distance the Diamond Ape retreated was not particularly far. It was only about 4 to 5 feet. However, the Diamond Ape's injuries were much more serious than those of the Sword of Evil and the Beast King. The Diamond Ape's entire right hand was almost crippled. Energy bodies, it's your turn now. After forcing the Diamond Ape and the others back with 3 consecutive moves, Blood River Patriarch roared and charged at the energy bodies. Energy bodies were good stuff. Not only were they powerful, but they could also convert energy. No matter how impure the energy was, it would become very pure after being converted by the energy bodies. Devouring the pure energy converted by the energy bodies would allow one to achieve twice the results with half the effort when cultivating. Swoosh! Before Blood River Patriarch could reach the 2 energy bodies, the Beast King flew over from afar and started fighting with Blood River Patriarch again. Damn it! Blood River Patriarch was so angry that his nose was crooked. I've given you face, and you think you can fly. I didn't kill you just now, but this time, I'll definitely turn your bones into dust. Blood River Patriarch, you want to turn my bones into dust? The Beast King seemed to know what Blood River Patriarch was thinking. He smirked and said sinisterly, I'll stand here and see if you can turn my bones into dust. Go to hell! Patriarch Blood River shouted and immediately gathered essence chi on his right fist. With a flip of his hand, he punched out with a shocking fist light. In order to kill the Beast King in one move, Blood River Patriarch used 80% of his strength in this punch. It was not that Blood River Patriarch did not want to use 100% of his strength, but he wanted to save some energy to prevent the 2 energy bodies from escaping. The energy bodies were too important to him. Whether he could advance to the 8th grade human supreme martial artist realm in a short period of time depended entirely on his energy form. With the help of the energy body, he would be able to break through to 8th grade human supreme in 3 years. Without the energy body, it would take him at least 30 years to reach the 8th grade human sovereign realm. Patriarch Blood River, I suddenly remembered that I have something to do. Let's fight another day. The Beast King did not wish to clash head-on with Patriarch Blood River. The Beast King had yet to recover to the early stage 7th grade human sovereign realm, while Patriarch Blood River was a middle stage 7th grade human sovereign realm. The difference in strength between the two was huge. Fighting head-on was no different from courting death. Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the Beast King did not hesitate to burn his blood essence to turn around and run. If he couldn't win, he would run. The Beast King was smart. Damn it! Patriarch Blood River wanted to chase after Beast King, but he was afraid that the 2 energy bodies would escape. Therefore, after cursing inwardly, Patriarch Blood River chose to change his direction and fly toward the body of energy. I can't believe it. The moment Patriarch Blood River turned around, he was stunned on the spot. Because in front of Patriarch Blood River, there was nothing. Not even a speck of dust. Where's the energy body? Patriarch Blood River's mouth was slightly agape, a little stunned. It's here. A voice rang in Patriarch Blood River's ears. Where? Patriarch Blood River was puzzled. Not good. Patriarch Blood River was very smart and reacted instantly. He hurriedly gathered his essence chi on his wrist and threw a punch. Patriarch Blood River, is that all you've got? Beside Patriarch Blood River, Ningyu revealed a disdainful expression. Ningyu's expression seemed to be saying, you're too outdated. Even a 1st grade human supreme realm rookie like me can't defeat you. Are you sure you're talking to me? Patriarch Blood River looked at Ningyu in front of him, then lowered his head to look at Ningyu's chest. He even stuttered a little. Also, why is your body so hard? You can refine your right hand into a Dharma treasure. I can also refine my body into a Dharma treasure. Ningyu shrugged and said, your right hand is comparable to a middle-grade royal Dharma treasure. My body is comparable to a high-grade royal Dharma treasure. If you don't believe me, you can try punching me again. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this moment, the Beast King, the Sword of Evil, and the Diamond Ape gathered together. Has Ningyu lost his mind? He actually let Patriarch Blood River punch him again. The Diamond Ape looked at Ningyu as if he was looking at a fool. No, Ningyu is wearing a suit of armor. That suit of armor should be able to block a full-powered attack from Patriarch Blood River. The Beast King and the Sword of Evil knew that Ningyu was wearing the phantom armor, and they also knew how terrifying it was. What armor? Patriarch Blood River is a middle-grade 7 supreme. Even a low-grade royal Dharma armor can't withstand a punch from him. The Diamond Ape was puzzled. It's a low-grade royal Dharma armor, the Beast King explained. Oh, right. Then, the Beast King suddenly slapped his head and said, I know what Ningyu is trying to do. He must be trying to snatch the divine essence pills while Patriarch Blood River is punching him. Take this. As soon as the Beast King's voice fell, Patriarch Blood River, on the other side, clenched his right fist and punched Ningyu's chest. Bang! After the punch, Ningyu was still standing in the same place, unscathed. This is absolutely impossible. Patriarch Blood River shouted like a madman. Nothing is impossible. Ningyu said indifferently, I've already said that I've refined my body into an artifact, and it's comparable to a high-grade royal Dharma artifact. How about this? I'll give you one last chance. At this point, Ningyu paused for a moment, then continued, when you hit me just now, you didn't use your full strength, and your body's primordial chi is not very sufficient. I'll let you recover to your peak, then hit me with a punch at your peak. Arrogant. Patriarch Blood River snorted, then flipped his wrist and took out the jade bottle he obtained from the bottom of the bottomless abyss. This is my chance. How could Ningyu miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? As the saying goes, if you miss this opportunity, you won't get another one. Ningyu quickly took out the red demon sword and slashed out a sword ray in the air. At the same time, Ningyu quickly stretched out his left hand and grabbed the jade bottle. Swoosh. As Patriarch Blood River was busy blocking the first sword ray that Ningyu slashed out, he was careless, and the jade bottle in his hand was snatched away by Ningyu. With the jade bottle snatched away, Patriarch Blood River went berserk and let out a hysterical cry. There were 4 divine essence pills left in the jade bottle, and each of them was equivalent to a life. Now, they were snatched away by Ningyu. What else could he do? Beast King, Sword of Evil, Diamond Ape, swallow the 3 divine essence pills in here immediately. Ningyu kept 1 divine essence pill and threw the remaining 3 to Beast King and the rest. Chapter 1039. Buzz. The divine essence pill was extremely potent. As soon as the Beast King swallowed the divine essence pill, its body let out a buzzing sound. Boom. Then, a terrifying aura shot into the sky. A peak 7th grade human supreme. At this moment, the Beast King had recovered to the peak 7th grade human supreme. Boom. Boom. Beside him, the Diamond Ape and the Sword of Evil had also recovered. The Diamond Ape's aura was at the mid-7th grade human supreme, while the Sword of Evil had reached the limit of his current level, a peak early 7th grade human supreme. The Sword of Evil was different from the Beast King and the others. The Beast King and the Diamond Ape had used up too much of their primordial chi. Once they got the divine essence pill, it would be very easy for them to recover to their peak. The Sword of Evil had just succeeded in the possession not long ago, so his body's compatibility was not perfect. 1 divine essence pill could help him reach the peak early 7th grade human supreme, which was already very good. Blood River Patriarch. After recovering to the peak 7th grade human supreme, the Beast King naturally had no fear of the Blood River Patriarch. The Blood River Patriarch was only a mid-7th grade human supreme, and he had used up too much of his primordial chi. How could he be a match for him? The Beast King took a few steps forward and said coldly, "The grudge between us has dragged on for decades. It's time to put an end to it." By now, the Blood River Patriarch had already accepted the fact that the Divine Essence pill had been stolen. His top priority now was to find a way to escape. "Beast King, you want to put an end to this?" The Blood River Patriarch was not angry at the Beast King's words. Instead, he became very calm. The Divine Essence pill had been stolen anyway. No matter how hard he tried, he could not get it back. The Blood River Patriarch changed his strategy. Now, he was no longer thinking about killing the Beast King. Instead, he was thinking about how to escape. "There's something important I haven't told you," the Blood River Patriarch said calmly. Patriarch Blood River said calmly, "Guess who I met in the bottomless abyss?" "Who is it?" The Beast King had a bad feeling about this. Why was Patriarch Blood River so calm? Was he faking it, or was he really confident? "Black Tortoise." Patriarch Blood River shrugged and spat out 2 words. "What?" The words Black Tortoise completely touched the Beast King, causing him to almost jump up. The Black Tortoise and the Beast King had been close friends for many years. In order to let the Beast King control the Beast King Palace, the Black Tortoise did not hesitate to resist the mysterious power from the void. The mysterious power was so powerful that it directly shattered the Black Tortoise's armor and blasted its body into the void. In the following years, the Beast King turned the mountains of magic beasts over, but he couldn't even find the shadow of Black Tortoise. Helpless, the Beast King could only give up. How could the Beast King not be shocked when Patriarch Blood River mentioned the Black Tortoise? The Black Tortoise is not dead, but it is trapped at the bottom of the abyss. The Beast King's reaction made the Blood River ancestor very satisfied. He continued, "According to my observation, if no one goes to save the Black Tortoise within 3 days, it will definitely be finished." Crack. The Beast King clenched his fists, his face gloomy. If things were really as the Blood River ancestor said, then he must go to the abyss. "Beast King, you should know what to do." Seeing the Beast King's expression, Ningyu felt that he had to remind him. The Blood River ancestor was insidious and cunning. If he didn't kill him now, he might use a trick to escape. Ningyu didn't want to be remembered by a 7th grade intermediate human supreme. "Don't dawdle. Isn't it easy to know whether what the Blood River ancestor said is true or not? Use a secret technique to extract his memories, and then kill him." Sword of Evil. Diamond Ape. Seeing that the Beast King was still standing there, Ningyu said in a deep voice, "Quickly kill the Blood River ancestor. Every second he lives is a threat to us." Swoosh. Swoosh. The Sword of Evil and the Diamond Ape had nothing to worry about. Killing the Blood River ancestor was what they wanted to do. Rushing out quickly, the Sword of Evil teamed up with the Diamond Ape to fight the Blood River ancestor. Rumble. Although the Divine Essence elixir was snatched away, the Blood River ancestor was still very powerful. The Sword of Evil and the Diamond Ape could not defeat him even if they teamed up. In other words, if the Beast King did not make a move, the Blood River ancestor would be invincible. "Beast King, what are you worried about? You should know the Blood River ancestor better than me." Ningyu knew that he had to convince the Beast King. Otherwise, if the Blood River ancestor escaped, everyone would be in trouble. "The Black Tortoise is too important to me. I have to save him." The Beast King said in a deep voice, "My life was saved by the Black Tortoise. If not for it, I would have been killed by the mysterious force." Mysterious force? Ningyu was slightly startled and puzzled. "Yes, the mysterious force." The Beast King nodded and explained. It turned out that the entire magical Beast Mountain range was enveloped by a mysterious force. Every 20 years, the mysterious force would descend on the magic treasure cave in the Beast King's palace. Along with the mysterious force were many magic treasures and elixirs. There were even 10th grade elixirs. Last time, the one who descended with the magic treasures was a young man. That young man only took a glance at me and I felt like I had fallen into an ice cave. The Beast King continued, "At that time, that young man said something that is still fresh in my memory." "What did he say?" Ningyu asked. "I will be back soon." The Beast King said. "I will be back soon." Ningyu frowned, feeling very confused. That young man was able to make the Beast King feel like he had fallen into an ice cave. With just a glance was enough to show that the young man's strength was terrifying. Even if he was not an Earth Supreme, he was at least a high-level human Supreme. No matter what, the most important thing now is to kill Patriarch Blood River. Slowly shaking his head, Ningyu put these thoughts to the back of his mind and said, Patriarch Blood River is a greater threat to us. If we don't kill him, none of us will have an easy time. Alright, I am willing to kill Patriarch Blood River. Taking a deep breath, the Beast King's figure gradually became illusory. Swoosh. In the next instant, the Beast King appeared in front of Patriarch Blood River. Bang! He threw a punch, bringing with it a violent Yuan Qi gale, and fiercely hit Patriarch Blood River's heart. The huge force from his heart caused Patriarch Blood River's pupils to shrink. His body was like a kite with a broken string, and he retreated backward. Puff. Unfortunately, the Sword of Evil was waiting for Patriarch Blood River at the back. Holding the Emperor low-grade flying sword in his hand, the Sword of Evil stabbed out. Without any deviation, it pierced through the back of Patriarch Blood River's head and came out between his eyebrows. Thump. In the moment before his death, Patriarch Blood River was filled with regret. He regretted underestimating Ningyu, and the result was that he was too obsessed with energy forms. He regretted not killing the Beast King immediately. But there was no use in regretting everything. There were some things that you would only be left with regret after you had done them. His body fell heavily to the ground. A 7th grade mid-human supreme, Patriarch Blood River. Chapter 1040. Shintu Haowush. Seeing that Patriarch Blood River had been killed, the Sword of Evil and the others all showed a look of relief. After all, the pressure that Patriarch Blood River had given them was too great. Although there were some twists and turns, they were still very pleased to be able to kill Patriarch Blood River. Ningyu, I hope you can hand Patriarch Blood River over to me. I want to bring him back to the Magic Beast Mountain range. The Beast King's expression was still very solemn. He quickly came to Ningyu's side and said, Is that possible? He was a beast that knew how to repay kindness. Ningyu first saved him from the hands of Venerable Wind, and then created favorable conditions for him to kill Patriarch Blood River. The Beast King engraved this favor in his heart and would never forget it. You killed Patriarch Blood River. You can do whatever you want with him. It has nothing to do with me. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, This trip to the bottomless abyss is full of danger. If someone follows you, you may be safer. I am willing to go with the Beast King. The Diamond Ape's voice rang out. Buzz buzz. On the other side, the main energy body and the small energy body were also shaking non-stop. You want to go too? Ningyu frowned slightly. Soon after, he let out a soft sigh and said, Go. In any case, you guys don't want to return with me. Staying in the magical Beast Mountain range with the Beast King is also a good choice. See you later. The Beast King handled matters swiftly and decisively, leaving as soon as he said so. He grabbed the body of Patriarch Blood River, tore the void and disappeared. Ningyu, we will have the opportunity to meet again. The Diamond Ape was very grateful to Ningyu for expelling the beast energy from his body. He said goodbye to Ningyu and then left with the Beast King. Swoosh. The parent energy body and the small energy body didn't want to stay here any longer. The two of them turned into a gust of wind and disappeared from this area. Ningyu, will there be any problems letting two energy bodies follow the Beast King? The Sword of Evil put away the low-grade monarch rank flying sword and said hesitantly, No problem. Beast King's strength is enough to suppress two energy bodies. Ningyu said. It won't be long before the Beast King recovers to his peak state. Two mere 7th grade sovereign energy bodies won't be able to pose a threat to the Beast King. Let's go to Tianqian City first. Now that Patriarch Blood River was dead, there was no need for Ningyu and the others to stay. In a flash, Ningyu was the first to leave. Meanwhile, in a restaurant somewhere in Tianqian City. Hey, have you heard? Just this morning, a mysterious force suddenly broke into the Ning family and put all the senior members of the Ning family under house arrest. That's impossible, right? There are several manifestation realm warriors in the Ning family. Even in the Great Xia Kingdom, the Ningyu family is second to none. I don't believe that anyone would dare to attack them. Although manifestation realm warriors are powerful, I heard that the mysterious force has an ancestor who is definitely in the supremacy realm. He might even be a high-level human supremacy. Crash. When the surrounding martial artists heard this, they were all shocked. A supremacy realm martial artist could instantly kill a manifestation realm martial artist, let alone a high-level sovereign realm martial artist. If it was really as the last warrior had said, then the Ning family would definitely be in trouble this time. Aunt Yun, could it be that the great elder of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, Shen Tu Hao, has already arrived at Tianqian City? At the corner of the restaurant, two warriors wearing bamboo hats were whispering to each other. If Ning Yu was here, he would definitely realize that he knew these two warriors. Yun Mu, Venerable Talisman Marshal. After leaving the Magic Beast mountain range, Yun Mu and Venerable Talisman Marshal came to Tianqian City and set up camp there. Shen Tu Hao will definitely come. After all, Bao Chang is his last disciple. If he doesn't come, I will really admire him. Venerable Talisman Marshal took a sip of wine and said indifferently, "Should we go to the Ning family first? Shen Tu Hao is a cunning person. I'm afraid that he will harm the Ning family." Yun Mu revealed a worried expression and said hesitantly, "Don't worry." Venerable Talisman Marshal raised the corner of his mouth and said, "As long as Ningyu doesn't appear, Shen Tu Hao will not know that Bao Chang was killed by Ningyu. Moreover, do you think that Shen Tu Hao really wants to avenge Bao Chang? Doesn't want to avenge Bao Chang? Then why did he come?" Yun Mu said doubtfully. Haha, Shen Tu Hao is the great elder of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, and also one of the most experienced elders in the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. The reason he came here this time is mainly to use Bao Chang's death to force Joding the Venerable to abdicate, and then become the pavilion master himself. Venerable Talisman Marshal said with a faint smile. But Joding the Venerable has long been killed. Yun Mu said. I also know that Joding the Venerable has been killed. In short, unless Shen Tu Hao takes out that thing, we don't need to do anything. Venerable Talisman Marshal waved his hand and said, "All right." Hearing Venerable Talisman Marshal's words, Yun Mu could only nod his head and did not say anything else. Dong, dong, dong. Ning family's conference hall. An old man wearing a black robe sat at the head of the hall. His eyes were tightly shut, and his right hand was constantly knocking on the chair below him. Below the old man, there were 2 rows of martial artists standing side by side. These martial artists were not very old, but their cultivations were all first-grade human supremes. After a while, the old man slowly opened his eyes and said, "You are all the elites of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, the elites of the elites. If any of you were to be placed in the outside world, you would be able to become a saint son or saintess of the 9 branches. For so many years, you have all been cultivating in a place where there is no daylight, and have never had the chance to display your strength. Now, there is an opportunity in front of you." The old man's gaze swept across the 9 first-grade human supremes in the hall, and he said in a deep voice, "It won't be long before Joding the Venerable comes out from the magical beast mountain range. Go to the gates of Profound Sky City now, and if you encounter Joding the Venerable, kill him without mercy. We swear our loyalty to the Great Elder." The 9 first-grade human supremes said in unison. Of course, although the 9 of you are geniuses among geniuses, the elites of the elites, Joding the Venerable is a 6th-grade human supremes, and he also has a few 5th-grade human supremes by his side. I will not let you die in vain. The old man was the great elder of the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, Shen Tu Hao. He waved his hand at the void, and the void trembled. Crack. Then, a middle-aged man appeared. Crazy bloodthirsty demon, you are responsible for hiding in the void and launching a sneak attack on Joding the Venerable. Shen Tu Hao stretched out a finger and said, "One move. Remember, you can only use one move. After that move, regardless of whether or not you can seriously injure Joding the Venerable, you must leave. Leave the rest to them. Understood?" Crazy bloodthirsty demon glanced at Shen Tu Hao, and then merged into the void again. This mission, you can only succeed no failure. Chapter 1041. Guards blocking the way. Rustle. At the outermost area of the magical beast mountain range, 3 figures sped past. They were Ningyu, the Dark Emperor, and the rest. After a few hours of traveling, Ningyu and the rest finally left the magical beast mountain range. We're not far from Tianqian City. Let's recuperate here and adjust our mental state to its peak before we set off. Ningyu found an empty space and sat down cross-legged to recuperate. For some reason, as they got closer to Tianqian City, the uneasiness in Ningyu's heart grew heavier. Shaking his head, Ningyu tossed the uneasiness to the back of his mind. Before long, they would be able to return to Tianqian City. The most important thing at this time was to adjust to their peak condition. If they were to encounter any danger in Tianqian City, they would be able to deal with it. After all, the Sword of Evil was extremely powerful. He would not feel much pressure against an early-stage 7th-grade supreme martial artist. Drip, drip. Time continued to pass. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. Let's go. Ningyu suddenly opened his eyes, bellowed, and was the first to rush out. Behind Ningyu, the Dark Emperor and the Sword of Evil followed closely. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The 3 figures moved at an extremely fast speed. About an hour later, Ningyu stopped again. What's going on? The Dark Emperor was a little displeased that Ningyu had stopped consecutively and complained. We're in trouble. Ningyu said with a solemn expression, the entrance of Tianqian City is in the distance. I can sense that there are no less than 10 martial artists hidden in the void. What an alarmist, there's no. My God. The Dark Emperor pursed his lips and shifted his perception to the city gate of Tianqian City. Not long after his perception left, the Dark Emperor hurriedly retracted it and cursed. There are indeed people hiding there. The Dark Emperor said fiercely, Ningyu, in my opinion, the 3 of us should kill our way out and make them piss their pant. Don't be rash. At this moment, the Sword of Evil spoke. The Sword of Evil's words caused the Dark Emperor to completely give up on the idea of immediately charging over. There's an aura that's extremely well hidden. Even I can't figure out where he is. Even you can't sense his location? The Dark Emperor's eyes widened as he said, doesn't that mean that there's an expert in the void that's even more powerful than you? The Dark Emperor was a little scared. It was fortunate that he had not charged out impulsively. Otherwise, if he had encountered an expert stronger than the Sword of Evil, he would have been dead meat. If you don't speak, no one will think you're mute. Ningyu rolled his eyes at the Dark Emperor and said, what the Sword of Evil means is that the expert in the void is better at hiding his aura, but he might not be as strong as him. You're making this Emperor nervous by only saying half of what I wanted to say. The Dark Emperor said snappily. Sword of Evil, you and the Dark Emperor hide yourselves at the same time. I'll head over alone later. Ningyu pondered for a moment before saying, those people in the void might not necessarily be looking for us. As long as they don't provoke us, we'll try our best not to get into conflict with them. Up to you. The Dark Emperor shrugged before turning into an afterimage and entering the storage ring. Buzz. As for the Sword of Evil, his figure flashed and he disappeared into the void. After sorting out his thoughts, Ningyu moved his feet and headed towards Tianqian City. Ningyu tried his best to look normal while concealing his aura at the same time. The aura of a Grade 1 human sovereign was simply too eye-catching. Ningyu guessed that if he dared to not conceal his aura, the expert in the void would definitely stop him. Ningyu was not too far away from Tianqian City. About 3 to 4 minutes later, Ningyu arrived at the entrance of Tianqian City. Ningyu appeared very calm. When he passed through the gates of Tianqian City, he did not feel any discomfort and was no different from a normal person. Luckily, I'm not their target. After entering Tianqian City, Ningyu shook his head and strode towards the Ning family. Ningyu was clear about the main and secondary matters. Right now, he had to return to the Ning family to check if Ningyu was in danger before treating his father, Ning Hai. Everything seemed to be going according to Ningyu's plan. Routine check. However, Ningyu had just taken a few steps when a guard came up from behind him. Check what? Ningyu frowned slightly because he did not recognize this guard. Furthermore, this guard's cultivation was at the early stage manifestation realm. Ordinary families would definitely not be able to afford to have an early stage manifestation realm martial artist as a guard. Why do you have so much to say? There's a crystal ball here. Inject your essence chi into it and I'll see what happens. The early stage manifestation realm guard said impatiently. Tell me, why do you have to check me out when there are so many people? Ningyu's expression was a little ugly. There were many martial artists going in and out of Tianqian City, but this guard had to check him out instead of anyone else. This made him furious. Noisy. I'm not checking others because the crystal ball did not glow when others passed by me. When you passed by, the crystal ball emitted a golden light. The early stage manifestation realm martial artist said coldly, as though he was going to fight if Su Ping did not inject his essence chi into the crystal ball. Swish swish swish, just as Ningyu was pondering, he suddenly felt several auras locking onto him. Those people hiding in the void. Ningyu quickly determined that these auras came from those people in the void. 9 first-grade supreme martial artists. Ningyu's perception was very strong. The moment these people's auras emerged, he was able to determine their cultivation. Although all 9 of them were first-grade supreme martial artists, Ningyu did not dare to be careless at all. Each of these first-grade supreme martial artists was extremely powerful. Although they were not his match in a one-on-one fight, he would definitely find it very difficult to deal with the 9 of them together. Brat, didn't you hear what I said? Seeing that Ningyu had no intention of injecting essence chi into the crystal ball, the early stage manifestation realm guard revealed a ferocious expression. He then lifted his right leg and kicked at Ningyu fiercely. Look, isn't that Ningyu? Which one? Who else could it be? Of course it's the martial artist who had a conflict with the guard. Oh my god, it's really Ningyu. It seems that Ningyu is in trouble. That guard is an early stage manifestation realm. The last martial artist stopped in the middle of his sentence. This was because he thought of Ningyu's previous achievements and immediately stopped talking. If an early stage manifestation realm martial artist could defeat Ningyu, then Ningyu must have been living like a dog during this period of time. Ningyu did not disappoint them. Just as the early stage manifestation realm guard's right leg was about to land on Ningyu, Ningyu slightly dodged to the side and ruthlessly chopped at the early stage manifestation realm guard's ankle with his right hand. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. The manifestation initial stage guard was like a kite with a broken string as he was sent flying. Ah! Chapter 1042. Number 9-inch humph. I'm giving you face, but you think you can go to the sky. If you're so powerful, why don't you stand shoulder to shoulder with the sun? Ningyu knocked back the early stage Fate Realm guard and snorted, this is Tianqian City. It's not your place to behave atrociously. You. The early stage Fate Realm guard pointed his finger at Ningyu as he spoke. What about me? Have you lost your mind? Ningyu stopped and slowly walked towards the early stage Fate Realm guard. Originally, Ningyu didn't want to tangle with this guard. After all, he still had important things to do. But on second thought, Ningyu changed his mind. Because this guard was making things difficult for him, there must be someone behind him. It was better to interrogate him before the people in the void appeared. What are you doing? Don't come over. The early stage Fate Realm guard looked terrible and even stuttered. I'm here to ask you. Ningyu said. Ningyu said the first half of the sentence with his voice, while Ningyu said the second half with his soul. There were 9 first-grade human supremes in the void, and they were all geniuses among geniuses. Ningyu didn't want his words to be heard by them. What should we do? Should we make a move? 9 first-grade human supremes were hidden in the void. One of the first-grade human supreme martial artists said, Number 1, you decide. These 9 first-grade human supremes were named number 1 to number 9 by Shintu Hao according to their strength. The one who spoke just now was number 7. Number 9, go and test his strength. After a moment of silence, number 1 said, also, find a way to inject his primordial chi into the crystal ball. I want to see if he has anything to do with Bao Chang. No matter what, Bao Chang was Shen Tuhao's last disciple. If Bao Chang's death really had something to do with Ningyu, number 1 wouldn't mind taking Ningyu back. So that's how it is. They're all people from the 9-Furnace Divine Pavilion. After asking around, Ningyu learned that these guards were powerhouses from the 9-Furnace Divine Pavilion. The guards were from the 9-Cauldron Divine Pavilion, which meant that the 9 first-grade human supremes hidden in the void were also from the 9-Cauldron Divine Pavilion. Not good. Suddenly, Ningyu's expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly retreated. Eat my fists. Just as Ningyu took 3 steps back, a figure appeared out of thin air. Number 9. This martial artist was number 9. Bang! Ningyu clenched his right hand into a fist and punched out, colliding perfectly with number 9's fist. The 2 fists collided. Ningyu and number 9 each took a few steps back. Judging from the distance they retreated, Ningyu had the upper hand. However, only Ningyu himself knew the inside story. He did not use his full strength. If he had to use his full strength to deal with a first-grade human sovereign, then wouldn't he be finished if the other 8 attacked him together? Kid, you're very strong. Tell me your name. After one move, he said coldly. Ningyu. Ningyu said lightly. You're from the Ning family. Number 9's eyebrows twitched. I didn't expect the Ning family to have such a powerful genius. You're indeed not simple. The 9-Cauldron Divine Pavilion is indeed like a ghost that lingers on. Ningyu said. Inject your Yuan Qi into the crystal ball, and I can spare your life. Number 9's mind flickered. He controlled the crystal ball in the early manifestation realm guard's hand to fly towards Ningyu. Catcher. Ningyu would not inject his Yuan Qi into the crystal ball. He flicked his finger, and a cold light flew out, shattering the crystal ball. You're courting death. Seeing the crystal ball shatter, number 9 flew into a rage. I gave you face, but you don't want it. Since that's the case, I can only send you to hell. The next moment, number 9 clenched his fists and charged at Ningyu at an astonishing speed. Feeling the Yuan Qi fluctuations from number 9's fists, Ningyu was slightly moved. The 9-Cauldron Divine Pavilion really does have some skills. They do have some methods to nurture geniuses. Ningyu slowly closed his eyes as he looked at number 9, who was flying toward him. Voila! The moment Ningyu closed his eyes, it caused an uproar. The martial artist you're fighting is a grade 1 supreme being. No matter how confident you are, no matter how conceited you are, you can't close your eyes. Could it be that Ningyu has really lost his mind? How is that possible? In my opinion, Ningyu should be using some kind of trump card. Number 9 was so angry that his nose was crooked. Strictly speaking, this was his first battle since leaving the 9-Cauldron Divine Pavilion. He could only succeed in this battle. Failure was not an option. Kai. Number 9 forced out several drops of blood essence and wrote a large word in the air. Die. The word that number 9 wrote was the word die. His using this move. At this moment, Ningyu suddenly opened his eyes. With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu poured the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness into his palm and pushed it out. A large word that was not inferior to the word die appeared in the air. What does this word say? How come I've never seen it before? Nonsense, I've never seen it before either. It's the left half of the word Qian. So that's how it is. Could it be that Ningyu practiced some kind of powerful technique after leaving Profound Sky City for a period of time? Seeing the 2 large words floating in the air, everyone was shocked. Rumble. The 2 large words collided in front of everyone's shocked expressions. Not good. As soon as the 2 words collided, number 9 realized that something was wrong. Because the die word that he used didn't even last for a second before it was defeated. One had to know that this was his strongest move. He used his strongest move so that he could kill with a single strike. Who would have thought that he would fail miserably? This made him very depressed. Number 9 didn't have time to be depressed for too long. He immediately ran away. Number 9 wouldn't do something like that. Besides, he still had 8 brothers. I'm not your match. If the 9 of us join forces, we can definitely kill you. Poochie. However, Number 9 was too focused on escaping that he neglected the black figure that appeared beside him. Dark Emperor. During the battle, Ning Yu had secretly released the Dark Emperor. The Dark Emperor had also advanced to the first-grade mortal supremacy realm. His ability to conceal his aura was superb. Furthermore, Number 9 and the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion's experts were all focused on Ning Yu and naturally neglected the Dark Emperor. But it was this 1 second of neglect that caused Number 9 to pay a painful price. In your next life, remember not to offend people that you shouldn't. Whoosh. The Dark Emperor slowly withdrew his claw from Number 9's chest and threw him to the side. Gasp. When the surrounding people saw Number 9's miserable state, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Cruel. This was simply too cruel. At this moment, Number 9's entire body was shriveled like a piece of skin. He had been devoured. The Dark Emperor was a heaven-devouring dog. He was known to devour the heavens, earth, and air. Even a peak expert like Venerable Wind could be devoured in an hour, let alone a first-grade mortal supremacy like Number 9. Ning Yu, you should have let me out to deal with these small fries. The Dark Emperor turned around and said to Ning Yu. Chapter 1043. Consecutive Devouring Boom. Hearing the Dark Emperor's arrogant words, the surrounding onlookers were in disbelief. That was a Grade 1 human supreme martial artist. Yet, it was devoured by the Black Dog so quickly. I remember that the Black Dog's name is the Dark Emperor. It seems to be on good terms with Ning Yu. What do you mean by on good terms with Ning Yu? To tell you the truth, it's pretty good. That's right. The Black Dog was fearless and saved Ning Yu at the crucial moment. The crowd discussed among themselves. It was obvious that the Dark Emperor was the focus of everyone's attention. After all, the Dark Emperor had killed devouring Number 9 and devoured him in a short period of time. The battle prowess displayed by the Dark Emperor was no weaker than a Grade 2 human supreme martial artist. What are you doing? Don't come over. At that moment, the early stage Blessed Realm Guard revealed a terrified expression, and his entire body trembled. Don't you know what I'm trying to do? The Dark Emperor shrugged, and then his figure flashed and vanished in the blink of an eye. No. Ah. Seeing the Dark Emperor disappear, the initial manifestation Realm Guard's pupils contracted and he wanted to tear open the void to escape. However, before he could tear open the void, the Dark Emperor appeared in front of him. Just like devouring Number 9, the Dark Emperor only used a few seconds to devour the initial manifestation Realm Guard. Not even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. After throwing the initial manifestation Realm Guard away, the Dark Emperor curled his lips and said, Ning Yu, I'll leave these weak shrimps to you in the future. Not only will I not earn anything from killing them, it'll also be a waste of my energy. The surrounding onlookers were speechless. Arrogant. That was too arrogant. Not only did he devour others, he even said that they were too weak. This was intolerable. Whoosh. In the next moment, the void in mid-air suddenly split open. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, after the space was torn apart, several figures appeared in the area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just right, 8 Grade 1 human supreme martial artists. Staring at the figures that suddenly appeared, Ning Yu took a deep breath and muttered. Ning Yu's expression was slightly solemn. Even though Number 9 had been killed, any one of the 8 first-grade Sovereign Realm experts was stronger than Number 9. In fact, the first-grade human supreme martial artist at the very front was much stronger than Number 9. It could be said that even 10 Number 9s wouldn't be a match for that first-grade human sovereign. Kid, you're very arrogant. The Grade 1 supreme martial artist at the front did not attack immediately. Instead, he took out a crystal ball and said, Release your primordial chi and inject it into this crystal ball, and I'll leave your corpse intact. Wouldn't I lose face if I injected my essence into the crystal ball just because you asked me to? Ning Yu had an indifferent look on his face as he said indifferently, Tell me, what do you want? Very good, you have quite a personality. Number 1 accepted the crystal ball, nodded, and said, Number 8, you deal with this stubborn kid. Number 7, you go kill that black dog. Yes. Number 7 and Number 8 responded and rushed out in unison. Number 7 charged at the Dark Emperor, while Number 8 charged at Ningyu. Ningyu, leave these two pieces of trash to me. Seeing that Ningyu was about to attack, the Dark Emperor hurriedly said. A first-grade human supreme martial artist was not enough for the Dark Emperor to devour. The two of them together would be quite interesting. A dog that has lost its mind. Number 1 did not have a high opinion of the Dark Emperor. Number 9's strength was the weakest among them. Coupled with Number 9's carelessness, the black dog's sneak attack succeeded. Number 7 and Number 8 could easily kill a fourth-grade human supreme martial artist if they worked together. Number 1 did not believe that the Dark Emperor could defeat Number 7 and Number 8. Should we make a move? Number 2, who was beside Number 1, frowned. For some reason, Number 2 was still a little worried. Perhaps that black dog's strength was truly formidable. We need to conserve our strength. Otherwise, when Joding the Venerable comes over, how are we going to kill him? Number 1 waved his hand, indicating for Number 2 not to worry. Bang! Bang! However, as soon as Number 1 finished speaking, two crisp voices rang in his ears. What? Looking towards the source of the sound, Number 1 was stunned when he saw the two corpses lying on the ground. The two corpses on the ground were none other than Number 7 and Number 8. Boring, you guys come at me together. After killing 3 first-grade human supreme martial artists in a row, the Dark Emperor felt a little bored. Although Number 7 and Number 8 were several times stronger than Number 9 when they worked together, it was not a problem for him. He could easily kill them. Crack crack. Hearing the Dark Emperor's mocking words, Number 1 clenched his fists tightly, making cracking sounds. Number 7, 8, and Number 9 had died in battle. This made him very angry. 3 exceptional geniuses were killed. How was he going to explain this to Shen Tu Hao? Let's go, let's attack together and skin this black dog alive. Number 1's eyes turned extremely cold as he took the lead and charged towards the Dark Emperor. Good move. The Dark Emperor did not care if Number 1 attacked or not. He was very excited when Number 1 attacked. Devouring Number 1 was much better than devouring Number 7, 8, and 9. Bang! Reality proved that the Dark Emperor was a little too optimistic and underestimated Number 1's battle strength. With just one move, Number 1 sent the Dark Emperor flying several feet back, causing his face to turn pale. Hiss! Number 1's move caused everyone around to suck in a breath of cold air. Too powerful. The scene of the Dark Emperor killing 3 first-grade human supreme martial artists and devouring them was still fresh in everyone's mind. Now that Number 1 defeated the Dark Emperor in one move, didn't that mean that Number 1's strength had reached a heaven-defying level? Fart. Spurting out a mouthful of blood, the Dark Emperor's face turned ugly. Failed miserably. He originally thought that Number 1's strength was only SOSO, but it seemed like he was wrong. On the surface, Number 1 was a first-grade human supreme martial artist, but the density of his Yuan Qi was comparable to an ordinary peak 5th-grade human supreme martial artist. In other words, it was highly possible that Number 1 had cultivated some kind of special skill and suppressed his cultivation to first-grade human supreme martial artist, waiting for a metamorphosis. I'll give you one last chance. Inject your Yuan Qi into the crystal ball, or I'll make you. Number 1 glared at Ningyu and said. Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Ningyu interrupted Number 1 and said calmly, if you want to fight, let's fight. If talking nonsense is useful, there would be no need for martial arts in this world. Fine, you forced me to do this. Number 1's eyes were extremely cold as he instantly charged towards Ningyu at a shocking speed. Number 1's speed was so fast that in the eyes of the crowd, he only left an afterimage. Fut fut. Wherever the afterimage passed, even the air was compressed and dispersed, forming a long and narrow passageway in the middle. Chapter 1044. Gaining the upper hand, I'll send you to hell. By the time Number 1 finished his cold words, he had already arrived in front of Ningyu. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched towards Ningyu's chest with an extremely violent Yuan Qi gale. This punch was so powerful that if Ningyu was unlucky enough to be hit, he would be crippled even if he didn't die. Whoosh! In the face of number 1, who was charging towards him, and the violent fluctuation of yuan qi contained in number 1's fist, Ningyu made an action that puzzled everyone. He closed his eyes. Ningyu slowly closed his eyes, as if none of this had anything to do with him. It's over, it's over. Ningyu must have lost his mind. Yeah, even an idiot knows to dodge. Don't tell me Ningyu is worse than an idiot. It's hard to say. It's possible that the grade 1 supreme martial artist is too strong and turned Ningyu into an idiot. Let's not talk too much, lest something unexpected happens. Seeing Ningyu's expression, the Dark Emperor frowned slightly. What the hell? Even I'm not a match for this idiot. Towards the end, the Dark Emperor stuttered a little. Because things had developed in a direction that he hadn't expected. Not only was the Dark Emperor dumbfounded, but even the remaining 6 grade 1 supreme martial artists of the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion had their mouths agape. Bang! Number 1 came to Ningyu's side. Before his fist could land on Ningyu's body, his body was sent flying. Roar. Then, a loud roar sounded in the area. Whoosh. Whoosh. 2 figures slowly appeared beside Ningyu. The 8-legged centipede and the Earthshaker. After leaving the magical beast mountain range, the 8-legged centipede and the Earthshaker had been recuperating in the storage ring. After a period of recuperation, they had mostly recovered their strength. Although there was still a gap compared to when they were at their peak, their sneak attack on number 1 had a miraculous effect. 8-legged centipede, Earthshaker. Number 1 wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said coldly, "Brat, did you just come back from the magical beast mountain range? Where I came from doesn't seem to have anything to do with you, right?" Ningyu shrugged. In the past, it had nothing to do with me. But now, it's very much related to me. Number 1 twisted his neck, turned around and said coldly, "Number 2, number 3, you guys deal with the Earthshaker. Number 4, number 5, you guys deal with the 8-legged centipede. Number 6, go deal with that black dog. I've already injured him, so he doesn't have much strength left." Number 1 ordered in an orderly manner. Yes. Number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 6 responded and rushed out in the blink of an eye. Rumble. A great battle broke out instantly. Number 2 and number 3 were very powerful. Although the Earthshaker was a 6th grade supreme martial artist, he had not recovered to his peak. His strength was only 50% of his peak, so it was quite difficult for him to fight against number 2 and number 3. He was only able to defeat number 1 because he hid in the storage ring and used a sneak attack. He also had the help of the 8-legged centipede. Now that he was fighting against number 2 and number 3 alone, the Earthshaker was even at a slight disadvantage. Comparatively speaking, number 4 and number 5 were much weaker. However, the 8-legged centipede was much weaker than the Earthshaker, so it was just enough to tie with number 4 and number 5. Number 6, on the other hand, was miserable. As the saying went, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. No matter how injured the Dark Emperor was, he was still not someone he could defeat. It was already a mistake that the Dark Emperor could not defeat him in the first 3 moves. "You seem to be very confident that you can kill me." Ningyu flicked his wrist and took out the Red Devil sword. Against number 1, Ningyu did not dare to be careless. A powerful genius like number 1 could probably be ranked in the top 3 of the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. What 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's first branches Holy Sun Zhuzhen? Compared to number 1, the difference was like heaven and earth. Ningyu could even guess that as long as number 1 was willing, she only needed to use 10% of her strength to tear Zhuzhen, who was at the same cultivation level, into pieces. Your 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's Pavilion Master Joding the Venerable is in danger in the Magical Beast Mountain range. Not only are you not going to help, but you are also making things difficult for me. What are your intentions? Ningyu's eyes darted around. If Joding the Venerable is in danger, I want to see how you will explain yourself when you return. What does Joding the Venerable's life or death have to do with us? Number 1's lips curled. Since you saw Joding the Venerable, you must know who killed Bao Chang. Bao Chang was killed by me, but how can I tell you? Ningyu's mouth twitched. He continued, Bao Chang was killed by the corpse sect. Only a fool would not take advantage of such a benefit. Ningyu wanted to take advantage of this time to sell out the corpse sect. The Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's combat strength was very strong. If the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion and the corpse sect started a war, wouldn't he have profited? I don't care what you say. In short, you won't be able to escape today. Number 1 seemed to have completely lost his patience. He coldly shouted and immediately tore through the void, disappearing without a trace. You want to play information with me? I want to see where you are hiding. Ningyu was happy in his heart, but he didn't show it on his face. Number 1's aura concealment method naturally couldn't fool Ningyu. West, 3 steps. In an instant, Ningyu determined Number 1's position. Number 1 seemed to be afraid of something. He had been hiding in the void and hadn't appeared. If Number 1 didn't appear, Ningyu didn't dare to relax his vigilance. If Number 1 suddenly attacked, wouldn't he be finished? Ningyu secretly channeled his primordial chi into his wrist and recalled the universe palm incantation in his mind. He quietly waited for Number 1's attack. Since you won't attack, let me do it. After waiting for about 3 minutes, seeing that Number 1 still hadn't attacked, Ningyu suddenly stomped his feet and his body flashed. Universe palm. While moving forward, Ningyu's right hand suddenly fanned out a palm print. Rumble. The palm print that Ningyu fanned out contained extremely terrifying yuan qi fluctuations. In addition to the yuan qi fluctuations, there was also a hidden soul force fluctuation. Of course, even Number 1 didn't notice this soul force fluctuation. You can attack. If that expert in the void attacks you, I will block it for you. It wasn't that Number 1 didn't want to attack, but it was because he had discovered the Sword of Evil and was afraid that the Sword of Evil would suddenly attack him. He was only a first-grade human supreme martial artist. If he encountered a 7th-grade human supreme martial artist, he could only swallow his hatred. Now that the violent killer demon had agreed to help, Number 1 was instantly relieved. Evil wave palm. With no pressure in his heart, Number 1 immediately displayed a palm print, which clashed with Ningyu's universe palm. Crack, crack. The 2 palm prints clashed and 2 crisp sounds rang out. Swoosh, swoosh. Ningyu and Number 1 took a few steps back at the same time. Chapter 1045. You lost. Again, Number 1 did not expect to meet an opponent in his first battle after leaving the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. Ningyu's strength was not any weaker than his. In a sense, Ningyu's talent was higher than his. Because Shuntu Hao had used a secret technique to forcibly control his cultivation at Grade 1 Supreme Martial Artist. If not for Shuntu Hao, he would have already advanced to Grade 5 Supreme Martial Artist, or even Grade 6 Supreme Martial Artist. For Ningyu to be able to fight him with Grade 1 Supreme Martial Artist cultivation, it had to be said that Ningyu's talent was much stronger than his. I have to finish him as soon as possible. Ningyu's thoughts were different from Number 1's. Number 1 did not have too many concerns, because in the other battles, it was mostly his companions who had the upper hand. Only the Dark Emperor's side was at a slight disadvantage. But looking at the situation, Number 5 would soon be able to deal with the Dark Emperor, because the 8-legged centipede was retreating to the edge of the city walls. Kid, eat another palm. Just as Ningyu was thinking, Number 1 had already arrived in front of him. His right hand turned into a palm and slapped towards Ningyu. Number 1's control of Yuan Qi with every palm strike was extremely reasonable. No, it was quite perfect. The strength of his soul force should not be weak. As Ningyu fought with Number 1, he secretly thought of a countermeasure. In terms of Yuan Qi, Ningyu had no way of exhausting Number 1. If he could tamper with his soul force, then there was a high chance that he could defeat Number 1, or even kill him. Your soul force should be at Grade 7 early stage. Ningyu's figure flashed, and he barely dodged Number 1's attack. What, you want to compete with me in soul force? Number 1 raised an eyebrow. My soul force is indeed Grade 7 early stage. If I'm not wrong, your soul force is also Grade 7 early stage. That's right, I want to compete with you in soul force, but I'm afraid you won't dare. Ningyu nodded and said, What's there to be afraid of? I've been practicing a soul attack spell a while ago, and it just so happens that I can put it to good use now. Number 1 gathered the soul force in his body on his wrist, and with a violent soul force, he punched towards Ningyu's head. Soul Power Fist. Soul attack spell technique, Soul Power Fist. The name itself was easy to understand. Turning soul force into strength, using strength to defeat the enemy. Soul Power Fist. Ningyu took a deep breath. With a thought, he poured all the soul force in his body into his wrist and pushed out. The 9th move of the Netherworld Samsara Palm. Heaven and Earth Palm. In order to defeat number 1, Ningyu not only poured his own soul power into his wrist, but also the soul power of everyone in the storage ring. Kai. Ningyu's palm strike was slightly more imposing. I don't believe you're my match. Number 1 was a little shocked, but on the surface, he said coldly. I wonder who will win, Ningyu or that martial artist. Looking at the situation, it should be that martial artist who will win. After all, that martial artist's strength is higher than Ningyu's. How do you know that martial artist is stronger than Ningyu's? Unless you've fought with that martial artist before? Nonsense, I'm only at the intermediate primal core stage. I don't think I can withstand a single blow from that martial artist. You know you're weak, but you're still talking nonsense. In my opinion, Ningyu will definitely win. Impossible, Ningyu's strength. How can it be? The last martial artist was about to retort when he saw a shocking scene. In midair, Ningyu's palm and number 1's fist collided. Pa! A dull sound rang out. Ningyu and number 1 retreated at the same time. Bang! Number 1 fell heavily on the ground, his face flat on the ground. As for Ningyu, he was caught by the Dark Emperor. I admit that you're strong. Forcefully swallowing the blood in his throat, number 1 said in a low voice, your soul attack spell technique is actually on par with my soul attack spell technique. On par? Hehe, you're too optimistic. Ningyu pushed the Dark Emperor away and smiled. It's not that I'm too optimistic, it's that you're too. Fart. However, before number 1 could finish speaking, he spat out several mouthfuls of blood. At this moment, number 1's face was as white as a sheet. Speaking of which, I have to thank you. The corner of Ningyu's lips curled up as he lightly said, if you keep competing with me in terms of yuan chi density and don't use soul attack spells, I won't be able to pose a threat to you. In fact, the martial artist who wins in the end might even be you. But, at this point, Ningyu looked at number 1 and changed the topic. He said coldly, you really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How dare you compete with me in soul attack spells? This is the biggest mistake you've made in your life. Ha ha ha. At this moment, number 1 was laughing maniacally at the sky. After laughing, number 1 said, do you really think you can defeat me? If that's what you think, I can only tell you that you're too naive. I don't need you to judge whether I'm naive or not. I only know that this day next year will be the anniversary of your death. Ningyu shrugged. Then, his body turned illusory and merged with the void. Oh no. As soon as Ningyu disappeared, number 1 realized something was wrong. Ningyu wanted to kill him. Bloodthirsty demon, come out and help me. In the face of death, number 1 was afraid. He was terrified. He screamed crazily and let out a hysterical roar. Crack. Clearly, number 1's screams had worked. The space around him suddenly ruptured, wrapping him firmly inside. Bang. Ningyu collided with the distorted space and his body was instantly bounced back. Ha ha ha. Seeing that Ningyu was bounced back, number 1 laughed maniacally again. It's not that easy to kill me. Just give me 3 minutes and I'll be back to my peak. When that time comes, it will be your death. Is that so? Hearing number 1's words, Ningyu took out the red demon sword and pointed it at the distorted space around number 1. Crack. An extremely crisp sound rang out. Number 1's voice stopped abruptly. How is that possible? That's impossible. My eyes must be playing tricks on me. Number 1's eyes widened as he stared at the distorted space in front of him. His face was filled with fear. Crack 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 crack. Following the first cracking sound, several more cracking sounds were heard. Rumble. Finally, An earth-shattering rumble rang out. Ah! My ears. My ears are deafened. Nonsense. This is only temporary. Fart. Go, leave this place quickly. If we don't leave now, we might even lose our lives. The impact of this rumble was extremely powerful. The low-level martial artists in the surroundings were immediately deafened and fled in a sorry state. You've lost. Chapter 1046. Take care of yourself. I've lost, I've lost, I've lost. Number one's eyes became a little dim, and he kept repeating the words I've lost. It was as if he had gone mad. Impossible. How could I lose? Suddenly, number one's eyes widened and he said hysterically, I'm a genius among geniuses, an elite among elites. How could I be defeated? Reality is cruel. Let's face it. Ningyu's voice rang out again. No. I don't want to. Puff. Number one couldn't believe the reality of their defeat. He moved his feet, wanting to move forward. Unfortunately, number one had forgotten about the red demon sword at his neck. The sound of a flying sword piercing into flesh rang out. Number one's mouth was slightly agape, his face full of fear. Puff. Ningyu withdrew the flying sword from number one's neck and retreated to the other side. Whoosh. Whoosh. Seeing that Ningyu was retreating, the eight-legged centipede and the earthshaker also teleported and landed on either side of Ningyu. Thump. Number one's eyes widened as his body fell backward. Until his death, number one still could not understand how Ningyu had broken through the distorted space around him. The frenzied bloodthirsty demon's mastery of space was something that even some high-level supremes couldn't match. The mastery of space that Ningyu had displayed was even more terrifying than that of the bloodthirsty mad demon. Hiss. Number one's death caused everyone who had retreated far away to suck in a breath of cold air. He died just like that. One had to know that number one's strength was exceptionally heaven-defying. Such a heaven-defying martial artist actually did not last long in the hands of Ningyu and was easily killed. To what extent had Ningyu's strength reached? Aunt Yoon, Ningyu is getting more and more powerful. I'm afraid something might go wrong. At the corner of the battlefield, Yunmu frowned. Ningyu's growth in strength is a little unexpected, but everything is still under control. Talisman martial supremacy said indifferently, only when the fish are fattened up will it be strong enough to be slaughtered and delicious. Aunt Yoon, are we really going to choose Ningyu's body? Yunmu hesitated. Humph. I already knew that you had feelings for that kid, but let me tell you, this matter was personally ordered by the Palace Lord, and that kid passed the test and successfully escaped from the Beast King Palace. The Talisman Supremacy glared at Yunmu and said coldly, coupled with the divination provided by the old prophet, we can basically determine that Ningyu's body completely conforms to the conditions, and our Flower Palace's rise will depend on this moment. But Yunmu bit her lips and said, no buts, no one can change this. The Talisman Marshal Exalt interrupted Yunmu and said, don't worry, I can guarantee Ningyu's safety in the next 3 days. The people sent by the Palace Lord will probably arrive in 3 days. At that time, no one will be able to save Ningyu. Bang! On the other side, Yunmu was still conversing with the Talisman Marshal Exalt. The battlefield in the distance became lively again. Number one was killed. How could Ningyu let the remaining Grade 1 Supreme Martial Artists escape? He cooperated with the eight-legged centipede, Earthshaker, and the Dark Emperor. Ningyu wielded the Red Devil Sword and charged into the crowd, activating a crazy massacre mode. It was a bit far-fetched to say that it was a massacre. Number 2 and Number 3's battle prowess was also very strong, only slightly weaker than Number 1's. Poof! Poof! Ningyu adopted a method of killing them one by one. He first let the eight-legged centipede and the others work together to delay Number 2, Number 3, and Number 4. He then killed Number 5 and Number 6. After killing Number 5 and Number 6, Ningyu worked together with the Dark Emperor to kill Number 4. In the end, only Number 2 and Number 3 were left in the center of the battlefield. You guys also die. Not good. However, just as Ningyu was about to kill Number 2 and Number 3, a sudden change occurred. A middle-aged man appeared between Number 2 and Number 3. Not good. As soon as the middle-aged man appeared, Ningyu's expression changed drastically, and he quickly retreated. Grade 7 Early Stage Human Supreme Martial Artist. The middle-aged man's cultivation was Grade 7 Early Stage Human Supreme Martial Artist, not far from Grade 7 Middle Stage Human Supreme Martial Artist. Sword of Evil. Such a strong martial artist must be dealt with by the Sword of Evil. As expected, after the middle-aged man appeared, the Sword of Evil followed closely behind. It's the frenzied massacre demon. In the distance, the talisman martial supremacy saw the middle-aged man suddenly appear, and his expression became extremely solemn. Aunt Yoon, what kind of frenzied massacre demon? Who is he? Yunmu asked. The frenzied massacre demon has a very powerful background. Although he takes orders from Shentu Hao, his actions are extremely strange. Sometimes, even Shentu Hao cannot order him around. The talisman martial supremacy said in a deep voice, the frenzied massacre demon's strength isn't particularly strong. His strength lies in his grasp of space. In the past, in order to kill an 8th grade human supreme martial artist, the frenzied massacre demon hid in the void for 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, when the 8th grade human supreme martial artist passed by, he suddenly exploded and killed the 8th grade human supreme martial artist. Then isn't Ningyu in danger? Yunmu's eyes widened as he hurriedly asked. Yes, he is. The talisman martial supremacy nodded and said, but the 7th grade human supreme martial artist in front of Ningyu isn't simple either. What's not simple about him? Yunmu asked. He is the Sword of Evil. He has been trapped in the Beast King's palace for many years. If I'm not wrong, he should be the necromancer of the corpse sect that has taken over the body of the Yin corpse sect. Right now, his strength isn't at his peak. The talisman martial supremacy explained, at his peak, the Sword of Evil had the cultivation of a peak 8th grade human supreme martial artist. Killing the frenzied massacre demon was extremely easy for him. What's the use of that? Aunt Yoon, quickly think of a way to save Ningyu. Once he's killed, his body will be wasted. Yunmu said anxiously. There is a way. After pondering for a moment, the talisman martial supremacy said. What way? Yunmu anxiously asked. We'll give up on Ningyu and find someone else. The talisman martial supremacy said in a deep voice, I never thought that Shentu Hao would even call the frenzied massacre demon over. As matters stand, whether Ningyu can survive will depend on his own luck. Aunt Yoon, I know that you definitely have a way. Just think of a way to save Ningyu. If you don't save him, you won't be able to bear the blame of the palace master. Yunmu still wanted to fight for Ningyu. Don't say any more. I know what I'm doing. The talisman martial supremacy said coldly, you must know that other than the frenzied massacre demon, there is still the even stronger Shentu Hao. If I use my trump card now, when Shentu Hao appears, what will I use to contend against him? If Ningyu can't even withstand the frenzied massacre demon, it means that he doesn't meet the requirements of our 100-flower palace. We must immediately find someone else to replace him. Rumble. Yunmu's head was about to explode. By saying this, the talisman martial supremacy was clearly giving up on Ningyu. This won't do. I must think of a way to force Aunt Yoon to help Ningyu. Chapter 1047. Suspended animation. You are very strong, but you are not my opponent. The frenzied bloodlust demon stared at the Sword of Evil and said in a hoarse voice, hand over the martial artist behind you and I will spare your life. Wishful thinking. Reverend Sword Evil said with a solemn expression. The Sword of Evil was well aware of his own strength. The mad bloodlust demon was right. He was no match for him. However, even if he wasn't a match for the frenzied bloodlust demon, the Sword of Evil had to bite the bullet. Courting death. With a low roar, the frenzied slaughter demon charged forward. In the hands of the crazed killer, Ningyu was already a dead man. Retreat. The Sword of Evil strode forward with his low-grade monarch rank flying sword in hand and slashed at the air. Kai. The sword light was abnormally huge, and wherever it passed, the air parted to avoid it. The frenzied slaughter demon didn't seem to care about such a huge sword ray and continued to move forward. What happened? Ningyu was puzzled by the frenzied bloodlust demon's actions. No matter how strong you are, you should have dodged the attack from the Sword of Evil. Could it be that the frenzied bloodthirsty demon was so strong that he was fearless? Whoosh! What happened next made Ningyu freeze on the spot. Not only Ningyu, but even the surrounding cultivators, as well as the talisman martial supremacy and Yun Mu in the distance, stood there in a daze. The Sword of Evil's sword light pierced through the wild bloodlust demon's body, splitting it in half. Gulp! No one had expected such a sudden change. Isn't that martial artist a little too weak? Before they could even reach the others, they would be cut in half. He's not a noob, he's a very noob. I didn't expect it to be a wax head with a silver spear. I can't see through it. I can't see through it. Oh my god. Hearing the first few martial artists saying that it was the frenzied killer demonic dish, the last martial artist also chimed in. The last warrior stammered as he reached the end of his sentence. The mad bloodlust demon had already appeared in front of the Sword of Evil and sent a punch towards the Sword of Evil's chest. An after image. The sword ray didn't hit the frenzied bloodlust demon itself, but its after image. The mad bloodlust demon's main body had already arrived at the Sword of Evil's side. He punched the Sword of Evil in the chest. Pa! A muffled sound rang out. The Sword of Evil was like a kite with a broken string as it floated in the air. I gave you a chance to live, but you didn't know how to cherish it. Don't blame me. The violent bloodlust demon didn't stop there. An expert like the Sword of Evil had to be defeated in one go. As long as there was a chance, he might be able to make a comeback. The rise of the strong was even more terrifying than the rise of a salted fish. I'm not a pushover either. The Sword of Evil gripped the flying sword tightly in his hand and unleashed several sword beams in a row. Whoosh! In front of venerable Sword Evil, a few hundred sword rays appeared in the air and surrounded him tightly. Child's play. The violent bloodlust demon didn't care about the hundreds of sword beams at all. His body gradually became illusory and soon merged with the void. Bang! After 0.1 second. The violent bloodlust demon appeared in front of the Sword of Evil and punched the Sword of Evil's chest. Fut! The violent bloodlust demon's punch was extremely powerful. The Sword of Evil spat out a mouthful of blood and his aura dropped rapidly. Impossible. This time, it was Ningyu who said it was impossible. The hundreds of sword beams around the Sword of Evil were enough to block a mid-stage 7th rank martial artist. The violent bloodlust demon was only an early-stage 7th rank martial artist. How could he pass through the sword beams without any warning? It's spatial attainment. Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have thought of something and his face became extremely solemn. It seemed that the violent bloodlust demon's spatial attainment was more than a level higher than the Sword of Evil's. In a battle between experts, soul force, the density of yuan qi, and cultivation would play a crucial role. However, there was an even more terrifying factor that could decide the outcome of the battle. That was the attainment of space. The violent bloodlust demon's control of space was much stronger than the Sword of Evil's. Their cultivation, yuan qi, and soul force were about the same, so how could the Sword Reverend fight the crazed bloodlust demon? Given the current situation, there was only one way for the Sword of Evil to defeat the violent bloodlust demon. He had to detect the violent bloodlust demon's location at all times. This was the only way to turn the tide and kill the violent bloodlust demon. Sword of Evil, if you know exactly where the violent bloodlust demon is, how confident are you in killing him? Just as the Sword of Evil was feeling troubled by his inability to defeat the violent bloodlust demon, Ningyu's voice suddenly appeared in his mind. Are you serious? The Sword of Evil's eyes widened as he replied hurriedly. Of course. Ningyu had the law of space. Using the feedback from the law of space, he could accurately locate the violent bloodlust demon. If I know where the violent bloodlust demon is, I have at least an 80% chance of killing him, the Sword of Evil said in a low voice. The Sword of Evil knew that Ningyu would not lie to him. Moreover, at this point, he had to believe in Ningyu. If he did not believe him, he would die. He believed that perhaps Ningyu could really bring about a miracle. Die. The violent bloodlust demon clearly had no intention of leaving him alive. With a low shout, It melted into the void once more. 10 meters to the east. As the violent bloodlust demon disappeared, Ningyu began to communicate with the law of space. According to the information transmitted back by the law of space, Ningyu continuously reported the violent bloodlust demon's location. 10 meters to the west. 6 meters to the south. Not good, it's behind you. At first, the violent bloodlust demon's movements were very rhythmic. Just when Ningyu thought that the violent bloodlust demon would move to the north of the Sword of Evil, it suddenly appeared behind the Sword of Evil. Let's do it. The Sword of Evil channeled all the primal chi in his sea of consciousness into the low-grade royal-grade flying sword, turned around, and thrust it out. Fut. The Sword of Evil originally did not hold any hope for this strike. However, when the sound of a flying sword piercing flesh rang out, the Sword of Evil stood rooted to the ground, speechless for a long time. Buzz. Not long after, a middle-aged man appeared in front of the Sword of Evil. The violent bloodlust demon. This middle-aged man was none other than the violent bloodlust demon. The violent bloodlust demon lowered his head to look at the flying sword stuck in his heart and opened his mouth slightly. He pointed his finger at the Sword of Evil and said coldly, "How did you find me?" The violent bloodlust demon could not believe it. How did the Sword of Evil find him? This did not make sense at all. How did I find you? The Sword of Evil pointed at his nose and looked at Ningyu. Very good, so it's you. After saying this, the violent bloodlust demon closed his eyes and died on the spot. Phew. After the violent bloodlust demon was killed, Ningyu let out a long sigh of relief. The stone in his heart was finally lifted. If the violent bloodlust demon had not been killed, he would have been finished. Rumble. However, before Ningyu could deal with number 2 and number 3, his pupils shrank. This was because Ningyu discovered that a rumbling sound came from the violent bloodlust demon's body. Swoosh. Chapter 1048. Other experts. What a familiar feeling. Opening his eyes, the violent bloodlust demon licked his lips and said, "This is the 8th time I've been killed. One more time and I'll be done." "The 8th time you've been killed?" Ningyu was stunned at first, but then he was overjoyed as he vaguely guessed the violent bloodlust demon's identity. 9 destiny. People like the violent bloodlust demon were commonly known as people with 9 destiny. Just like a cat, they had 9 lives. As long as they weren't torn into pieces, they could come back to life in a short period of time. Every time they came back to life, their strength would increase by leaps and bounds. It was almost a perverted change. For example, the violent bloodlust demon was an initial 7th grade human sovereign, but now he was a peak 7th grade human sovereign. He was only a step away from 8th grade human sovereign. Of course, people with 9 destiny were not completely fearless. There was a way to destroy their 9-fold life providence physiques, causing their strength to instantly plummet to rock bottom. And Ningyu happened to know this method. This was also the reason why Ningyu revealed an overjoyed expression. Sword of Evil, later you. Thinking of this, Ningyu hastily sent a soul message to Venerable Sword Nefarious, telling him how to restrain the wild bloodlust fiend. "I'll come for your lives in 3 days." The violent bloodlust demon's eyes swept across Ningyu and the others, then his body melted into the void and disappeared. Buzz. Not long after the violent bloodlust demon disappeared, the Sword of Evil's body also turned illusory and disappeared from everyone's sight. Ningyu, did the Sword of Evil go after the violent bloodlust demon? Seeing the Sword of Evil disappear, the Dark Emperor asked with a frown. "That's right. We're going after the violent bloodlust demon, and we're going to bring its corpse here." Ningyu nodded and said, "Are you confused from the fever?" The Dark Emperor widened his mouth as he exclaimed, "The violent bloodlust demon's cultivation is at the pinnacle of the 7th grade sovereign realm. If the Sword of Evil goes there, it's no different from courting death. The strength of the Sword of Evil is not something you can fathom." Ningyu glared at the Dark Emperor and said, "There are still 2 1st-grade human sovereigns over there. Shall I leave them to you?" Don't. You should deal with it." The Dark Emperor hurriedly waved his hand. What a joke. Number 2 and number 3 were not much weaker than number 1. With the Dark Emperor's current strength, he was still unable to contend against heaven-defying martial artists like number 2 and number 3, let alone kill them. It's good that you know. Earthshaker, follow me. As soon as he finished speaking, Ningyu rose from the ground and dashed out. His target was number 2. Whoosh. As for Earthshaker, he rushed towards number 3. No. 3, I'll hold them off. Hurry up and call the first elder. Number 2 took a step forward and stood in front of number 3. He said in a deep voice, once the first elder arrives, they will all die. Understood. Even number 1 had been killed. If he stayed, he would not have a good time. Besides, number 3's mission was to surround and annihilate Joding the Venerable, not Ningyu. Therefore, after number 2 helped him block the attacks from Ningyu and Earthshaker, he immediately tore open a rift and disappeared without a word. Where do you think you're going? With the Dark Emperor and the 8-legged centipede around, how could he let number 3 escape? With a deep roar, the Dark Emperor and the 8-legged centipede attacked at the same time. All kinds of techniques were thrown at number 3. Poochie. Although the Dark Emperor and the 8-legged centipede were not as strong as Ningyu and Earthshaker, number 3's strength was not as strong as number 2. In just 3 minutes, number 3 was killed by the Dark Emperor and the 8-legged centipede. Kaboom! As soon as number 3 was killed, the outcome of the battle on the other side of the battlefield was also decided. Ningyu landed a punch on number 2's heart. The terrifyingly powerful impact shattered number 2's heart. Number 3 and number 2 were killed one after another, causing the surrounding spectators to gasp involuntarily. How terrifying! How terrifying! Initially, no one was optimistic about Ningyu's chances, especially after the appearance of the wild bloodlust demon. Everyone thought Ningyu was done for. Even if he was not killed, he would become an idiot. Who would have thought that not only did Ningyu not die, he would also be able to resolve the crisis? The only thing that the crowd was confused about was when the wild bloodlust demon would return. Let's go. After successfully killing number 2 and number 3, Ningyu and the others did not stay in the same place. Instead, their figures gradually turned illusory. When Ningyu and the others completely disappeared, the surroundings became noisy again. Ningyu is too powerful. Why does Ningyu's strength increase so much every now and then? God knows why. What's the use of Ningyu's strength? Don't forget that the Ning family still has a high human supreme martial artist. That's right. Even Ningyu couldn't kill that high human supreme martial artist, let alone the Ning family's high human supreme martial artist. In my opinion, if Ningyu goes back now, he's just courting death. Ningyu was not the least bit concerned about the crowd's discussion. After leaving Tianqian City, Ningyu's first choice was not the Ning family, but the Snow Pavilion. At this time, in a room of the Snow Pavilion. You are the new pavilion master of Tianqian City's Snow Pavilion? Ningyu's gaze slowly swept across the middle stage true martial realm martial artist in front of him. He said in a deep voice, "Tell me about the Ning family's current situation." I am the pavilion master of Tianqian City's Snow Pavilion, Hu Yang. Facing Ningyu, Hu Yang was a little trembling. Hu Yang had long heard of Ningyu's fame. The reason why the Snow Pavilion was able to survive was all because of Ningyu. Otherwise, the Snow Pavilion would have long disappeared from the Great Xia Kingdom. After sorting out his thoughts, Hu Yang said, "The Ning family's situation is not optimistic. All the upper echelons are trapped in a secret chamber." Trapped in a secret chamber. Ningyu slightly frowned and continued, "Who is the leader, and what is his cultivation?" It is reported that the leader is the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's Great Elder, Shentu Hao, a 7th grade supreme martial artist. As for whether he is a 7th grade intermediate or initial, I do not know. Hu Yang replied, "Besides Shentu Hao, there is also a 5th grade supreme martial artist and a 4th grade supreme martial artist. Looks like I have to wait for the Sword of Evil to return. Otherwise, I won't be able to rescue everyone from the Ning family." Ningyu fell into deep thought. With his current strength, let alone contending against Shentu Hao, he wouldn't even be able to last 3 moves against him. A 7th grade supreme martial artist was not just for show. Ningyu's current cultivation was a 1st grade supreme martial artist. If he wanted to contend against a 7th grade supreme martial artist, his cultivation would have to reach the peak of 2nd grade supreme martial artist, or even 3rd grade supreme martial artist. Otherwise, fighting against a 7th grade supreme martial artist would only result in death. Tell me about what happened in Tianxian City during this period of time, and whether there are any experts from other forces in Tianxian City. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,